All right, welcome to the Gaming Lounge Podcast, episode 25. Once again, I'm your host, Sebastian, and I'm joined by Dory. How's everything going, Dory?
Well, between being sick, so you'll hear me cough every now and then, I also have mice in my apartment, so that's fun. Mice plural. And not loving Dead Rising as much as I thought. So not a great start to the fall for me, but luckily October is still here, and there's a lot of great games to come. So doing okay, but yeah, I will probably sporadically cough. So if you hear me suddenly mute myself, I don't know how you would hear me do that. But anyway, yes, I am looking forward to talking about a lot of great games that we're playing, plus some news that we missed out on because last week I had to go to a wrestling show.
So today is September 28th. Happy Resident Evil 3 Day. Raccoon City happened today, 26 years ago.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. The R.I.P.D.
R.I.P.D.
R.P.D. Yeah. All right. So we only got a couple of news topics because a lot happened in the last 2 weeks, but I didn't want to have a 4-hour show. So I think this is the three biggest news of the last 2 weeks, and then you know what? I just realized that I did not include the state of play. So I'm going to add that as well as we're going on. The first bit of news was the Kingdom Hearts news that happened a couple weeks ago. It was an interview with Nomura with Young Jump, and he said a couple of things. He said he plans on retiring in a few years, and Kingdom Hearts 4 will be written with the intention of heading towards a series conclusion. Which, for starters, Kingdom Hearts 3 was like Avengers Endgame of Kingdom Hearts. Like everything was building up to that, and I my biggest disappointment with that game, even though I know Remind fixed a lot of things, was the ending. I'll spoil this now if you want to hear this, skip it ahead. But I didn't like that like Sora and Kairi didn't get a definitive ending. I didn't like that it ended on a cliffhanger where Sora is just disappearing, like he fades away and he basically dead. I did not like that. I thought Kingdom Hearts 3 should have been the definitive ending. And then if you want to do more in the future with the series, then you can do a different character or something else. But I didn't care for that. But so 4, I guess, seems to be more of the definitive ending for Sora's character, at least. I'm sure they're gonna keep going on with this. I don't see the series ending like just okay, no more Kingdom Hearts games. That's it. I think it's too much of a cash cow and well known. Mm-hmm. I think they'll do something else at some point. So it says Kingdom Hearts 4 is considered a story reset, so a new saga. And it says the Quadratum. It's
Quadratum.
Quadratum. It isn't a one-to-one real life Tokyo, but it's like a reality version of it. It's like a weird reality version of Tokyo. I guess it basically implies that Sora is like in the afterlife. Sora's dead, and this is like a dream version of a city of an afterlife or something like that. Right. And then it says Missing Link story is being worked on by Square Enix staff members who haven't previously worked on Kingdom Hearts before to give a fresh take on Kingdom Hearts' writing. So they're getting all different people on deck, so different writers who haven't worked on it before. And then it says Nomura has been watching Kingdom Hearts YouTube videos to stay refreshed about its extensive story details.
I love that,
which is amazing. The Kingdom Hearts
imagine one of your comments under your video is like Tetsuya Nomura saying, "Thank you, this was very helpful. Good job." I would talk mad shit to all my fellow Kingdom Hearts fans for the rest of my life.
You know, I always felt that when people said the Kingdom Hearts story is like really hard to follow, I always thought that was a bit overblown if you played it in chronological order. I think the issue lies in the fact that like a lot of story elements started getting included in the mobile games that they're not even in America and stuff like that, or weren't in America, and like that a lot of that stuff is like has been hit on yet. Like it's a lot of like cliffhangers and story beats that have not been gone to yet, and I can understand that. But like I think overall it is definitely a convoluted story, but I think Kingdom Hearts storyline is not that hard to follow if you play it in order.
It's been memed to death at this point. It can be complicated at certain points, but honestly, you just play through Kingdom Hearts by release order and watch the movies. You'll be fine. Like, some of the concepts are a little overly complicated, but it's not nearly as bad as some people make it out to be.
Yeah, I think the big issue was with Dream Drop Distance when they started doing time travel and stuff. I think that got a little. I think that just got goofy.
Yeah,
Pun intended.
I defend a lot of Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop. I cannot defend.
Yeah, I didn't like the whole Ansem time travel like storyline, but that was like the big thing. Like that was led up to Kingdom Hearts 3. And but I like the story of Kingdom Hearts overall though. I think it's pretty straightforward in terms of like the main characters and what they're trying to accomplish and things like that. I think the Xehanort stuff was convoluted more than anything else. But anyway, and then it says there is meaning behind Sora's famous line that he says at the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 1. Is any of this for real or not? So that will be eventually explained, which is insane to think about because Kingdom Hearts 1 came out when I was 9 years old, and that was in 2002.
Yeah, and Nomura basically said that he's had Quadratum in some kind of like fashion in his mind since Kingdom Hearts 1, which, I mean, if that's true, that's absolutely bonkers that he's been saving it for that long. That's like, I don't even know what level of storytelling that is, but that's kind of wild.
Right. And then that's pretty much it. In terms of Kingdom Hearts, overall, Dory, what do you think of his thoughts on Kingdom Hearts 4?
I don't know if, right, like, so I mean, to touch on like something that happened this year when Akira Toriyama died, this is obviously a very different situation, but he already had a protege for that whole situation, like a student under him who was doing a lot of Dragon Ball Super for the manga. I don't know if Nomura has someone like that in Square Enix who he really trusts with his character designs and Kingdom Hearts. I would be interested to know that. I haven't heard him publicly say anything about that. This is the first I've ever heard him talk about retirement. For the record, it's not unusual that someone Nomura's age would talk about retirement. He's, I think, 53 or something. He's in his 50s. And retirement in Japan is like 60 or something like that. It's a little younger than the US. So yeah, it's not like, I don't know, it's not a big deal.
Yeah,
go
ahead.
But yeah, it is definitely a big announcement. I don't know if they'll continue without Nomura. Obviously, he's such a big part of it. I'm sure Square Enix will want to, and Disney will want to. Although you wouldn't know it, given Square Enix definitely advertises Kingdom Hearts way more than Disney ever does. I think at this point, Disney doesn't really know what to do with Kingdom Hearts in terms of their corporate image right now. But that's another issue. I don't know how I feel about Kingdom Hearts continuing without Nomura. You can certainly complain about some of Nomura's creative choices over the years, but like him or not, I mean, he is the heart of like what makes Kingdom Hearts. Like, it would be very strange to me if Square, like, I can imagine him maybe in a kind of advisory role to keep it straight, like kind of like what, I guess he's a director in FF7 remake, so that's different. But maybe like a lesser directorial role or something for the future. I don't know how you approach it. Regardless, I don't think Kingdom Hearts 4 will be the last game. I'm sure some people are reading that as like KH4 might be the last game, but I bet we will probably get maybe one more side game and then KH5, which will probably be the last game, at least for the Seeker arc, which is what's happening right now. So that's speculation, but I feel pretty confident that KH4 is not going to be the last one. He still has another like 7 years, appropriately enough, I think. So I think they'll at least have time to make a smaller game and then one last big game, and then Nomura will probably retire. According to him, he'll retire. I mean, it's sometimes video game people retiring is like wrestlers saying they're going to retire. They come back, because they just love doing what they do, or need to pay the bills. Although I don't think Nomura has that issue, really. He's a critically acclaimed director. But yeah, I don't know. This fills me with a lot of different emotions as a Kingdom Hearts fan. I loved Kingdom Hearts 3, but I definitely have my share of criticisms of it. Definitely think the ending could have been wrapped up a little nicer. We could have gone to the Seeker arc in a better way. I don't have anything against Kingdom Hearts going. I mean, honestly, my hot take is Kingdom Hearts should have ended after KH2, really, because KH2 is like pretty much a pitch perfect ending. But they decided to keep going and make a bunch of spin-off games. And I don't really think, maybe KH3 you could argue, but the height of KH2 really hasn't been hit since then. And I like Birth by Sleep and Kingdom Hearts 3, but it's tough to say that they are as good as KH2. So yeah, I don't really know how to feel about this. It kind of like hit me when I saw it, and I like didn't really process it. But it's a pretty wild thing to think about Nomura retiring. He's been in the video game industry since, I want to say, the mid to late 90s. I started off with Square back when they were Squaresoft, doing Final Fantasy 7 and 6, I think. He was a character designer at first. So yeah, imagining the video game industry without Nomura is really kind of weird because it's just been his whole life. But yeah, I hope he has somebody lined up to replace him if he is really going to retire. But Nomura is a very secluded person, and he hasn't said anything about anyone, kind of getting the Toriyama treatment, so to speak. So we'll just have to wait and see. It's a long way away. I mean, that's 7 years from now, I think, around there. So it's not something we have to eminently worry about, but it is something to obviously think about and talk about like we are now.
Is he not directing the last Final Fantasy 7 game?
I think he is, yeah. I think there's plenty of time for him to do that and then probably right off into the sunset. But I think they already said that in a news release that Final Fantasy 7 already had a lot of its base work done, because I mean it's just built on Rebirth.
Yeah, I mean they already hit on most of the game, the original game.
Right. So Nomura will definitely have time to assist with that. I don't know about anything else future wise, but certainly KH4 a side game and probably KH5 to finish things up, which makes me a little sad. I wish we could get to KH6 just to like make it a little even, right? The first 3 games are the Xehanort Saga, next 3 are the Seeker Saga, but I don't think we're getting to 6. I think we're getting to 5 if we're lucky.
Well, I don't even view it as like 3 or 4 anyway, because like I view 358 over 2 and Birth by Sleep as like mainline games, and Dream Drop Distance a mainline game. Those are basically 4, 5, and 6 if you think about it.
Sure.
But I think the big issue with Kingdom Hearts more than anything is the development time is just too long.
Yes.
5 to 6 years is just too long for these games. Or any game really, but especially
it's a general industry issue, but it's especially applicable to Kingdom Hearts. Now, I will say a lot of that for KH3 was because they had to restart their engine and they had to do everything back from scratch.
Right.
But even taking that into consideration, the difference between 2 and 3 was just a long time. And I think the first trailer for 4 was shown in, I want to say 2021, 2022? At least a few years ago.
22 sounds right, but like it's been 5 years since Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yes, and that's quite a wait.
And 4 doesn't even seem like it's close to happening for at least another 2 years.
They have been very quiet about it. I would be surprised if we got in 2025 at this point, which is disappointing. But
2026,
I mean, I'd rather them.
I think.
What?
I think 2026 sounds more realistic. Yeah. Go ahead.
But I mean, I'd rather them take their time with it and make it good than rush it.
Yeah, I don't want them to rush it, but 7 years, jeez, that's absurd. To be honest with you, even for like a new, like Elder Scrolls or something like that's a long time for a game.
It's
a modern
came
problem.
out in January 2019, KH3 that is.
Yeah.
So right now we've been waiting about 5.5 years. Not 5.5. 5.5 years, right?
Yeah, because it came out the same week as Resident Evil 2 Remake, and since then we've gotten 3 to 4 Resident Evil games.
Yeah, 5.5 years since that. Almost. I hope we didn't get anything at the Tokyo Game Show either for Kingdom Hearts, and that's when some people thought maybe we would get something, anything. But yeah, it is just so frustrating because Square and Nomura have just been so quiet. And it's like, you don't have to say like an exact release date, but give us a year or a season or something, or at least tell us that you know that it's on the way. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. There's gotta be something they need to review. Like, show a poster, show a wallpaper, show like a screenshot or something. Just give people something.
Show us some kind of life here.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we've talked about this topic enough. We probably should move on now. It's been 15 minutes. So let's move on to some Nintendo news. So while Nintendo was releasing the new Zelda game, they decided to sue Pal World, their developer Pocketpair, who's also Japanese. I'm gonna read this off IGN. There was like a little more details, but I only want to hit on the main thing that was going on because they did Pocketpair did release a statement, but I don't want to read the whole thing for the sake of pacing. But basically, they said we're a small indie developer and we have better things to do than. Honestly, that's basically what they said. Like, oh, we're gonna focus on the Xbox and the PS5 reveal launch, and then we'll go from there. So Power World developer Pocketpair has responded to Nintendo and the Pokemon Company shock patent infringement lawsuit with a statement that says it's unaware which patents are being accused of infringing. So first of all, they don't even know what Nintendo's suing them for. No one really knows yet. I mean, I have people say because the Power World's monsters look too much like Pokemon, but I mean they're very similar. I can see that, I guess, but I'm really not sure. Like, is it that blatant of a ripoff that you can sue them for it? Like, do you have a Pikachu lookalike that looks just like Pikachu and where you can sue them? That's my thing. And the genre itself is can Nintendo sue someone because someone is doing a similar genre of collecting monsters? Because that genre has been used by a lot of developers. So I'm just curious on the details because we have not gotten the details of what they mean by patent infringement. And then Nintendo released it themselves, saying it infringes on multiple patent rights, and they're seeking an injunction and compensation for damages, which is going to be in the millions, of course.
Injunction, what's your function?
Pocketpair says it begrudgingly investigates the patent infringement claims while continuing to update Pal World despite the lawsuit and apologizes to players left concerned about the future of the game. Dory, what's your reaction to this? Because I have mixed opinions about it.
Yeah, Nintendo's one of the most punitive. Like, I know, like. There's a stereotype about America where we sue everybody for everything, but like I feel like Nintendo embodies that as a company. Like, they'll sue or at least go after people for just about anything that they feel infringes on their intellectual property. Now, I'm not going to get into the topic of intellectual property more broadly, because that's a whole hornet's nest of controversy. But I don't really have a pal in this fight. I was gonna say a dog, but then I realized I just made that joke. But yeah, I think it's kind of shitty that there's a fly around, so I'm just doing that. I think it's kind of shitty that Nintendo's doing this. I also think it's weird that it took so long for them to do it, but maybe it just took a long time to get their case together. But if that's the situation, then why don't we know why they're suing them? So it's just weird.
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have strong opinions on it. Just to say that it's weird. It took a long time, and I'm not really sure what they're even suing them about to begin with.
It's very vague because we just don't have enough information. So I don't want to be like, oh yeah, Nintendo has no case. I'm sure Nintendo has some case. I'm sure they've been building it up for almost a year now. Well, not a year, but like it's been a good chunk of the year now. Pal World came out earlier this year, I played Pal World, and then some of the monsters are like borderline, like, okay, that's Lucario, like that's just legitimately Lucario but recolored, or oh, that's Pokemon but just changed with AI a little bit or something like that.
It's a shiny Lucario.
Yeah. So I guess I can see Nintendo having a case, but my only issue with people are the people that are just like so anti Sony and Microsoft that like. And Nintendo, because Nintendo is doing so well right now, they're so pro Nintendo. Like, oh, Nintendo does nothing wrong. Oh, they're fully justified to do whatever they want. they're so anti-consumer and shit. Nintendo's a big bully just as much as any other big developer. Like they're all greedy corporations that want to make money. It's just how it is. I just wish people kept the same energy for everybody. Like that's my only thing with everything is keep the same energy for all these big companies that treat people like shit. And so I think Nintendo, I'm sure Nintendo has a case for this, and so I'm not anti Nintendo in this situation, but I'm also not like rooting them on either for this. I think I just have very mixed opinions about it. Power World is different enough, I think. Like because the game is a survival game first and foremost. It's not catching the Pokemon or Pals or not. It's a main focus of the game, but the main focus of the game is really just building a fort or like a base, and then it's a survival game. It's like keep feeding them and make sure you're building a castle or a fort or getting resources, cutting down trees. It's that kind of game. Pokemon's more of a JRPG, turn-based. Get 8 badges, catch all the Pokemon you want, all the legendaries. Pokemon Power.
Yeah, I mean when the sequel to Scarlet and Violet brings in machine guns, then we'll start talking, right?
Right. Yeah, Power Word feels different enough. I think what I'm saying, like even the player character can like smack the pals with like an axe, and they can shoot them, and you can like get involved in the battle with the Pokemon. I keep calling the Pokemon, but you get what I'm saying. So I think it's different enough, but so I don't think that's the reason why they're getting sued. Because I don't think that's enough of a case. I heard
conjecture on Twitter, so obviously take it for what it's worth, but that it was like some kind of like conceptual infringement of their IP, or like some kind of like game design infringement. I don't know if that's actually accurate. I forget where I even saw it.
Yeah.
So it's not super useful, but seems plausible. But I don't know.
Everybody's assumption is that they're just getting sued because the pals look too much like Pokemon, and I've seen people say that they were made by AI, and they just took Pokemon designs and then changed it up a little bit. That I understand, but I need more information before I can really conclude on this. But so it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, because it's a legal thing, I think we won't know anything for a while unless somebody on the inside leaks some info.
Especially,
and I mean, given that it's Nintendo, I don't really think that would behoove them.
Especially being in Japan as well. They might keep it confidential. I don't know how it works in Japan. I don't know if they.
Yeah, I mean, and it's also worth noting that there's different laws in Japan too, right? There's no fair use. Japan does not have fair use, which is why Nintendo goes after so many things that are like fan made or whatever, because Japan has no fair use clause, unlike in the United States where you can do parody. Like if Weird Al tried to do his thing in Japan, like he could probably get sued out of existence, but he pretty much only parodies like American artists, so that's fair use. He also asked for permission, so it's just a different legal framework entirely. It's also, this isn't, for once, it's not Nintendo suing an American company or an American developer. It's suing another Japanese developer. So that's another interesting wrinkle. So it doesn't have to be cross country or whatever, international.
I'm curious how what's gonna happen. I'm assuming that's gonna settle, but I don't know how much money Pocketpair has, so we'll see. I'm sure Nintendo will probably get in the millions out of this. I'm assuming they have a strong case, and Nintendo is like the best lawyers in the world. Like they're on level with Disney in terms of lawyers. So we'll see how it plays out. That's really all I have on this. It's just I have mixed opinions about it. But I will say, as someone that played Pal World, it's different enough. Like, there's games that are more blatant ripoffs of Pokemon than this game. To be honest with you, the designs are definitely like I definitely can see that they grabs a Pokemon and then like artwork of a Pokemon and then change it up a little bit and kind of use it as a basis to design their own. I could see that for sure, but I still think it's.
I mean, and at the same time too, it's like how many different animals can you use as a basis to make creatures, right? Like I don't know. I like Digimon and Pokemon were around the same time, and like they were trying to differentiate each other. It's like the human imagination can only go so far into twisting and warping what otherwise would just be a normal animal.
Yeah, that's why Digimon, like the Mega Evolutions, turn into like full on Gundams, and like Pokemon doesn't do that. Pokemon,
because they wanted to make it different than Pokemon.
Yeah, So that makes
And
sense.
also, it's fucking cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I think we should move on to our next topic, which Dory's really hyped for. Like a Dragon pirate Yakuza in Hawaii was revealed.
Oh, that name is fucking terrible. I like when I read it, I was like, I felt like I was having like a little, like, no disrespect to people who have actually gone through this, but I felt like I was having like a little mini stroke while I was reading this. I was like, this is a horrible title. And then like Brian brought it up in Draft Punks, and I was like, wow, he's right. Like, this will be a great game with a terrible title. And then you just read it, and I was like, wow, it really is a bad title. Anyway,
I guess because they try to do like a direct translation from Japanese. Like the Japanese titles always sound awesome, but like when you put it in English, it sounds odd. Like
yeah.
that's what I saw that with like a lot of anime. Like they'll have some, like every episode would have like a really awesome title, and then they translate it in English, and it's like, what? It sounds weird. Anyway,
Goku has to jump very high. He will do it, probably.
And always like exclamation mark or something. It's like really exciting.
Yes, a whole bunch of exclamation mark. And especially in GT, they love doing this. I was watching a review show for GT from the Team 4-Star people, and they're like, so many episodes just spoil the fucking plot. I hate that shit.
Yeah.
When you like have Goku wins this time. Yay! Like, what? Why am I watching this episode then? Like, obviously, I presume the good guy wins, but like,
the good thing is,
anyway.
the good thing is the American dub didn't do that. With like they gave us like their own title card.
Yes.
All right. So because there's pirates in Hawaii.
Obviously.
Yeah. So we'll start with Majima is back. He is the protagonist for the first time. Like the main protagonist. Majima. I'm sorry. He's the main protagonist for the first time since Yakuza 0, but he wasn't only the main protagonist. He was like side protagonist.
Which is, not to interrupt you, but which is really cool because his voice actor has wanted to be the lead role ever since Majima was introduced in 0, and he's finally getting it to happen. Obviously, it's just an expansion / DLC, but it's still really cool for him.
Yeah, and he's staying true to himself. He's the chaotic character that he is. The Mad Dog persona, and it's a pirate themed story. So it's like it's gonna be a lot of familiar things, but it's unique in itself that it's a pirate game. Because they've done that a couple times with this series. Of course, you got like the samurai version of Yakuza, and now you're doing a pirate theme one. The difference in this game also is that they're going back to the beat 'em up gameplay instead of the turn based gameplay of Like a Dragon. And there's a Mad Dog. There's two fighting styles. There's a Mad Dog with an agile knife combat and air combos, and there's a pirate style where you use cutlasses and pistols and hooks and stuff like that. So it's got a pirate theme style, that's probably what I would use. And then it takes place in Hawaii, of course, as the name suggests, and what Like a Dragon was, the last Like a Dragon was. And you do like typical Yakuza stuff like go-kart and karaoke. And
all classic things that pirates did, as we know.
Yeah, a lot of mini games, of course, as you would expect from this series. There is new elements such as crazy delivery, and a 24-hour Cinderella music video. Apparently, there's a redesign of it.
Wait, can you run that by me again? Because I must have missed out on that one.
Yeah, so I saw this. There's some like redesign of an iconic 24-hour Cinderella music video, and I don't know what that is. To be honest with you, but
that sounds incredible.
Yeah, I guess you're a hardcore fan. You know that. Like I haven't. I'm a big fan of Yakuza, but I'm not like that big of a fan of the little details. I typically mainline these games. I don't like do all the side content. And then there's apparently a lot of exploration and hidden treasures, as you would expect. I would hope, right? Yeah. There's additional naval combat in this game as well. So,
like I said, they're bringing Black Flag. I'm very excited about this.
Yeah, this is better than that Ubisoft game, right? Skull and Bones.
Yep, Skull and Bones.
But
it took them like 10 years. It's gonna take Yakuza like fucking 1 year. Oh, they had an interesting interview about that, by the way, where they were basically asked like, how the hell are y'all coming out with so many games in so few years over and over? Like a Dragon was 2020 and Infinite Wealth was 2024, right? It only took them 4 years. That's not a bad development cycle at all.
It was like January.
Yeah. And the director was like, we have no shame in reusing assets because it's nicer on our developers. It's
not only
easier
that
for the player to acclimate.
last year was Ishin as well.
Yeah, Ishin. Yep, absolutely.
So they made what 3 to 4 games in the span of 4 years. 3 games, I think. Yeah, they have a giant studio. They have a lot of employees, I believe, so they're able to make multiple games. I think they do multiple projects at the same time, and since they're all using the same engine, the same assets and stuff, they could make multiple games at the same time. Which, I can understand if people are like feel like there's too many. Like I can understand that, like because it feels like an annual series now, which is weird to say because people were clamoring for Yakuza to like they were clamoring for it to be a mainstream series and be on all platforms and all that. Like I remember like back in the day on the PS2 era, it was only a Sony exclusive like PlayStation series that was obscure and only a few people knew about it. And now it's like this giant franchise that a lot of people play and play everywhere on every platform besides Nintendo. And so it is pretty wild how big this series got. But I'm happy for it. I think they're quality games. They're not for everybody, of course. They're very dialogue heavy. I think people don't realize that when they first start the series that like these games are very narrative based. I mean, we have all the craziness and the gameplay and all the mini games and goofiness of Yakuza, but at the base of these games, they're very serious Yakuza stories with strong narratives and a lot of dialogue. And there's a lot of scenes where you're just gonna be put your controller down and watching for like 10, 15 minutes at a time. So you just gotta be prepared for that. It's not gonna click with everybody. But if you love that kind of stuff, I think it's perfect. I think these are great for episodic style of gameplay where like if you want to just like play a chapter for a night, like you get home from work and just want to like do a chapter, like these games are perfect for that. It feels like a TV show that you get to play every day or every week or however you want to play it. So I think I don't have overall I don't have an issue playing them once a year because like I said, it feels like a show. You get a season 1, season 2, season 3. It kind of feels like a season of a show. And that you watch once a week or once a day or whatever, how you want to do it. So this is all exciting news to me, I think. I don't know if I'll get it day one. I probably will, but we'll see. But I'm sure Dory's going to get it day one, being that like
day one.
Yeah, seeing that like your game of the year.
I mean, let's go through the checklist. I love Pirates. Infinite Wealth is my goatee. Spoilers. I don't think anything's beating it at this point. Although I don't know, October maybe. But you know, I love Pirates. I love Yakuza. Infinite Wealth was my goatee. I love Majima, one of my favorite characters of all time. Period. Yeah, I mean, I'm seated. This is incredible news for me and me specifically because I love Black Flag. I love Yakuza. They are melding the two. Obviously, not exactly 1-to-1, but yeah, this is like awesome news for me. It was really cool news to wake up to. When it was announced this week. I'm really psyched. I'll be there day one unless it gets delayed, basically.
Yeah, which I probably won't be. It's probably done, I would imagine, or close to done.
Oh, and that combat looks incredible. You can do like air combos with Majima. It looked kind of like, I know this is cheap because it's air combos, therefore it must be like Devil May Cry, but it is the first thing that comes to my mind. It looked like Devil May Cry. But it looked really fucking cool. So I'm excited. This is big news for me.
Yeah, this game's gonna be batshit crazy, knowing the character. So have fun. Like that's really what it comes down to. This game's gonna be wild.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a wild ride.
It's gonna be awesome.
Yep. All right, so let's move on to the state of play now. The state of play. So before we talk about that, we were going to do Tokyo Game Show, but I just didn't really see enough topics for this for talk. Like, there's a couple of things like StarCraft coming to PC Game Pass. That was cool, the remaster. But I figured that wasn't really be a topic for Dory. She doesn't care for Blizzard and never played StarCraft. And then also,
nope.
I only have so much to say about it because
unfortunately, Blizzard must build additional pylons for me to care.
Yeah, plus StarCraft.
That's my one StarCraft joke. That's my one StarCraft joke, everybody. It's the only joke I know.
StarCraft is the one Blizzard series that I never got into personally. And then like I saw some like gameplay and story trailer for Metal Gear Solid Delta, but we both know Metal Gear Solid 3 very well, so there's not really much to talk about. It just looks better, of course. And then
a lot of the stuff from the game show is just either stuff we've already talked about or stuff that doesn't necessarily excite me. Maybe it excites Seb, but I didn't want to cut him off from talking about whatever he was interested in. But for me, I didn't see a lot that really clicked with me.
It's not so much I'll put it this way. There's exciting things, but things I already knew about. So all they were just showing is like screenshots of things I already knew, or like small trailers or something. The Metaphor demo, which we'll talk about, was one of the big ones.
Yes,
but we'll talk about that later. So I know Xbox had a big show, a Tokyo Game Show, but there was just not enough there that like I feel like we had for either of us. If we had another person on this panel or something, then maybe. But there's just not something I'd find interesting for the both of us. So let's talk about the state of play. Now the state of play overall was pretty good in my opinion. Like I think it's one of the better ones. Now I'm not saying it was some great one or anything like that. And I'm playing 90% of these games on PC, ironically. So I'm starting to view these state of plays just as like my PC catalog as well. So I never get too upset about these things because I just view them as a catalog to show new games or old games or just give me an update on something. So the first big news was the Astrobot DLC, which I already knew about. Their developer talked about it in interviews. They never officially said they were going to do that, but the guy said it in so many interviews that it was going to happen, which is no surprise because people love the speed run time, the time levels in these games. So it has a new speed run levels, of course, and it has 10 new special bots. One of them being Stellar Blade. That was the big thing, and so that was really cool. We're getting that at the end of the year. That's maybe around when Dory starts playing this game because it comes out in the fall. So they didn't say when in the fall, but I'm assuming it's going to be like I want to say November. It feels like a November thing.
I think November is going to be my cool off month. Well, November and December are going to be my cool off month where I try to frantically catch up with the 2024 games I missed, including some indies that I have on my Steam wish list. So and I'll have Christmas money plus college money. So
November slows down for me, but now that Star Wars Outlaws coming to Steam on November, I'll definitely get that game because I love Star Wars. I want to try that game out on PC.
Hopefully, it's been heavily patched and improved since then.
It sounds like it has been, at least, or if not heavily, I know it's been fixed at some parts. I know the stealth got fixed, but either way, I still want to play it because I love Star Wars. All right, so I'm going in the order of the PlayStation blog. So if my order's off from the show, that's what I'm going off of. So the big announcement was Ghost of Yutai, and that's Ghost of Tsushima 2, basically. It takes place hundreds of years in the future, so Jin Sakai is passed away. I'm assuming that he lived happily ever after, got to live.
People were like, "Where's Jin?" And then people posted a gif of a skeleton in the corner, like he's dead.
Yeah, and as you would expect, the grifters on Twitter turn this into a woke agenda conversation about how a woman protagonist is taking over the game, and that was a big conversation for a week, which I barely saw because I block most people, a lot of those accounts.
Smart man.
But I did see people talk about it, like, you know what I mean, like my friends who I don't block.
The other big deal was that Erika Ishii, who is an incredible voice actress and just an awesome chaotic gremlin, goblin, whatever she goes by, they go by. Just a really cool person. And like every time like somebody takes a screenshot of like Erica's takes on like the police or gender or something, I'm like, stop! I already want to play the game. Like, please, like
even then, no,
just make me want to play the game more.
Even
like,
then,
but it's stupid because it's like they're acting like Erika can influence fucking Sucker Punch with her niche political opinions.
Yeah,
like shut up.
Yeah,
like, it's not gonna affect the game. Just shut up.
Yeah, unless like even then, like a person's politics don't bother me unless they're like extremely homophobic or racist or something like that.
Right, and she's like the exact opposite. The exact opposite of that.
Like if somebody was like an economic conservative, like I would still play the game. It would like has no effect on the game itself. Like unless they were saying something about black people or like, you know what I mean, like that kind of thing, then I can understand. But I think it's so irrelevant to the game itself. Plus, I'd have no issue. Like, first of all, I'd have no issues playing as a female protagonist. Like I've played as female characters my whole life. Like sometimes I prefer the female character because like because their gameplay style will be more agile, and I like that gameplay style more than like some beefy guy. Like I kind of liked it, like Atreus's gameplay in Ragnarok. People didn't like that section. I actually liked how Atreus played. Like Kratos, because I just like that more agile bow and arrow kind of gameplay. Like I like playing as Aloy feels great. I like, you know, I know people can say what they want about Aloy herself, but like the gameplay I feel like is fun in Horizon.
Yeah.
So either, and then of course Lara Croft and all that stuff. So it's such a non-issue. First of all, I always pick a male character if I can, because of course I'm a boy, I'm a guy, so of course I'm gonna pick a male character. I prefer playing as a male character, but if I have to play as a female character, it's not an issue at all. And and there's also why she looks like a badass. Like if you watch Blue Eye Samurai in Netflix, which is like one of the best animated shows, and they won an Emmy. It's incredible, and it's a female protagonist. So and she's a samurai who, and I can understand if she's like fighting like grown men with hand-to-hand combat or something, but like being a skilled samurai is totally fine as a woman. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can understand if it's like really unrealistic when she's doing extremely different things, like where she's like Kratos strength or something. But that's not gonna be the case, of course. So I just think it's a total non-issue that people are. I think people are doing it just for engagement, really. Because I think
of course,
hate gets a lot of likes. Like, you know, the people that make the million thumbnails with the red font, that kind of stuff. So I'm really hyped for this. Ghost of Tsushima was one of my favorite games of 2020. I have it on PC as well, and it looks incredible, plays incredible. I just love samurai stuff, as I always said. I love Rurouni Kenshin and things like that. I'm a sucker for this. This is day one for me. And yeah, this is one of those games where I will get on PS5, of course, because it won't come to PC for a couple years. And I'll probably rebuy it and replay it, because I've done that for all the PlayStation 5 games, basically, on PC. So this is hype for me. This is beyond hype. Like, this is... Yeah. I'm not just day one. I'm like day zero. It's like, this is like... I'd pre-order now.
I'm day -1 on this. I loved Ghost of Tsushima. It was one of my favorite games of that year. It was in my top 5. I don't remember exactly where it was, but it was pretty high up.
So that was a stacked year, though. I gotta say, that was a stacked year.
Yeah, it was incredibly stacked. I mean, it was a top 5 in a year that had so many incredible bangers. I'm so excited for this. I got goosebumps as soon as I started seeing the trailer. Anybody who's giving Erika Ishii shit about this can go fight me, but not actually, because I'll probably lose. But yeah, I mean, Erika Ishii is so incredibly funny, and they're such a talented voice actress. If you want to see any of their stuff, they have a lot of their stuff on Dropout.tv, and they're on Dimension 20. They do a lot of D&D stuff. I've been a big fan of them for about a year or two now, and I'm just really excited for them to have this huge opportunity. I think they're going to absolutely smash it. Even more gameplay wise, I think this is going to be awesome. Obviously, the graphics look phenomenal. This is going to be huge, and I'm super ecstatic for Ghost of Yotai. I'm also really excited because hopefully we won't have a pronunciation war about whether it's Tsushima or Tsushima, and hopefully we can all just come together and say that it's pronounced Yotai, and there's no other pronunciations out there. But yeah, this was hype. This made the whole show for me. If this hadn't been here, I think the show would have just been okay. But this brought the show to like a good 7 out of 10 or something like that for me. I loved this trailer, and I'm very excited for it. It's coming out in 2025, right?
Yep, 2025.
Fuck yeah, I'm excited.
Which makes sense. It's been 5 years at that point since the first game. Sucker Punch has been very, very quiet with this game.
Yes.
Although I do hope after this game, I don't want them to make a third one. I feel like you hit on everything. I don't. There's only so much you can do at this point.
Yeah.
I would like them to maybe do something else after that. But I'll take another samurai game too, as well. All right. So another news which a lot of people were not happy about, or definitely complaining about. Horizon Zero Dawn is getting a remastered. Now, it's only $10, and even for PC, it's $10 to get the remaster to upgrade. At first I was like, this is terrible, and I just don't see the reason for this. But if it's only $10 and I get like the remastered where it's like they changed the game a bit and added more re-recorded conversations and things like that, then I'll play it because I was gonna replay this game anyway. I'm gonna go through the whole series on PC eventually, so it just gives me a reason to experience it again in a better way on PC. So I wasn't too upset about it after like they said it was $10. I'm like, oh yeah, I already have it, so $10, not a big deal. But if it was like, but the optics is bad because like, yeah, we don't need a remaster for a game that came out in 2017 and still looks great. But like for the people that keep saying though, why do they keep pushing Horizon so much? And it's like, you know how much these games sell? This game sold so many copies. It's one of the highest selling PlayStation games of all time. This franchise is huge. It's very popular. They're all critically acclaimed games. So people act like, oh, this is some mediocre 7 out of 10, only sold 2 million copies. Why is PlayStation pushing this so much? Because it's a huge franchise for them. It really is. It's really it makes total sense to me. I think the bigger issue is not Horizon. I think the bigger issue is that they need to have other IPs and have more games coming out. Focusing on Horizon is not an issue. It's not Guerrilla's fault that Sony's not releasing enough games and other IPs from their other studios. You know what I mean? So it's not really an issue to me. It's more of a Sony issue, not Guerrilla's issue. Anyway, Dory. I'm sure you have no interest in this, so.
I have negative interest, and that is coming, by the way, from someone who loves Horizon Zero Dawn. I love Forbidden West. I'm not inherently against remasters. I don't inherently think they're the devil's play toy or whatever. Like, I understand that they want to keep it going, and it's a money thing, and these are big sellers. I get all that. It just doesn't. I just eye roll. I thought the Lego thing was kind of. I don't know. It's like, that's not for me either. I think that's just kind of goofy. I get it. It's cool for the kids, and it's cool for some of the adults who like that stuff. It doesn't really click with me at this point, and I loved the Lego games when I was younger, so I get it. But I just feel like they're doing weird stuff. And then the VR stuff, I just feel like Horizon's doing a lot of weird stuff with its franchise right now that like don't interest me. I'm not saying it's bad or they shouldn't be doing it or it doesn't make any economic sense. Just not for me personally. I love Aloy. I love her story. Forbidden West was one of my top 5 games of the year it came out. I love Horizon Zero Dawn. It was one of the first games I played on PS4. So I'm just all this to say, like, I have no interest. I will not be paying that $10, especially when I have so many games to play that are brand new that I've never touched before. For people who are happy and excited or want to play it remastered, that's great. I've seen some side-by-side comparisons, and I think Aloy actually looks kind of weird.
Yeah.
She kind of looks yassified with like eyeliner and shit. I don't know what the hell's going on with her face. But anyway, it's just not for me. I'm gonna leave the memories where they are, and if I want to go back and play Horizon Zero Dawn, I'll go back and play Horizon Zero Dawn. Yeah. But for right now, I'm good. October's stacked. I know this isn't probably coming out when is this coming out actually?
Halloween.
Oh yeah, no, I'm playing Veilguard. Like, fuck off. Like, no way am I playing anything else besides Veilguard.
They're keeping the tradition of Horizon coming out on a big.
Damn it, are they ever, Seb? Jesus Christ, these people do not fucking learn. Every time Horizon comes out, it's got to compete with fucking Legend of Zelda. It's got to compete with Elden Ring. Now it's got to compete with Dragon Age, which hasn't had a game in 10 fucking years. Jesus Christ.
I feel like they do it on
Gorilla just has a death wish.
I feel like they do it for laughs.
I know, it's a joke at this point. It really is. Anyway, I love Horizon. I'm happy for people who are excited, but it's not for me.
I think overall the $10 saves this. If there was like a $70,
yes, I agree.
If this was a $70 price tag, like Last of Us Part 1 kind of thing, then this is atrocious. But for $10, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, that would be war crime level. But yeah,
because I played when I was on PS5 mostly, I got the $10 remaster for Ghost of Tsushima on PS5, and it actually looked like a PS5 game. It looked way better than the PS4 version. Like, it was a legitimate remaster. And now, some people said the same thing about that, but it was only $10, and it really was a big jump. So if it looked that good in 2017 in the PS4 Pro, 'cause that was my first Pro game, um, then I can imagine it looks even better now, especially on my PC on ultra settings. So we'll see. Now when I say I'm interested in getting this for $10, I am not going to get this day one or anything. It's just like in the future, where like when I have some extra time, there's no games coming out, I just want to play like Horizon or something, like next year maybe. That's when I'll do it. But I have too many games to play, especially since Dragon Age comes out on Halloween. I have other games to play. I just don't have time to put in 40 hours for Horizon this year. So at some point, we'll see. And in terms of Lego Horizon Adventures, I'm not day one on it because it comes out November 14th. It is something I will get when it's on sale because I like the Lego games. It'd be like a fun Steam Deck game. I'm not expecting anything world shattering. It's just a fun Lego game. So I will get it because I love Horizon enough. I've beaten every Horizon game, so including the VR one. So I will get it, just not day one. So it's cool. I think I like PlayStation's branching out to more family-friendly games. I hope they keep doing that. Like Astrobot in this game. I hope this is a sign that Sony's going to give us more of a portfolio, a catalog of different genres, not everything being third-person narrative-driven games. And then let's move on now. So we're not going to talk about the Pro because neither of us are interested. Although I hope everybody got their 30th anniversary edition if they're able to fight the bots and stuff. But I'm so glad I don't have to deal with that. Although I will have to deal with that when the 50 series video cards come out, I'm sure. And then they had a Chroma collection, which kind of looked cool, like the different plates for the PS5 Pro. I really like the blue and the green one, the shiny chrome colors. But personally, I prefer the white. I would keep it white, or even the gray of the collector's edition looks incredible. No, but not $1,300. Not $1,300 incredible. And then we skipped the PS Plus because we're not interested in that. Oh, so Alan Wake 2, we're getting the Lake House expansion. So we knew we were getting DLC for it.
Yep.
So this is no surprise. It takes place in a new location on the shores of Cauldron Lake. Within the Federal Bureau of Control's research station, the Lake House, a catastrophic event has occurred where reckless experiments have caused reality to collide with the dark. So as you know, Control and Alan Wake take place in the same universe, in Remedy's universe, and Control 2 is being worked on. So it all connects to. I'm sure it's all going to connect to each other. So maybe this is like a prequel to Control 2 or something. So I'm interested in that. Dory, how about you?
Yeah, I can't really say like that I'm super like. I mean, like I did love Alan Wake 2. I never ended up like pulling the trigger on the DLC. At the time, I was a little bit short for cash, and it ended up being like mostly spin-offs that were unrelated to it. I think the Lake House expansion is supposed to be more like story central. So I might buy it then. But I love Alan Wake 2. I had some problems with it, but I thought it was a really great game overall and much better than the first game, which I have a laundry list of issues with. So yeah, I mean, I'm all in on their cinematic universe that they're building up. Honestly, it's probably one of the best cinematic universes that are going on right now. Certainly better than the other cinematic universe that's going on right now. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. When did it say it was coming out? Is it this year or next year?
It's this year, I believe, but I don't think it said like a specific.
I'd be surprised if it didn't come out in October, just because it's spooky. But maybe that's not in the cards.
Okay, it is October.
It is October. Okay,
it just doesn't say when. It just says October.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, October's so stacked. I don't know. I might put that off until November just to save my wallet like $5 or whatever it'll be, $15.
I think my issue is that I already have October planned out. Like I have new games coming out and I have horror games I want to play, so it's kind of hard. I have nowhere to fit it. And I don't want to play this. I don't know if I want to put this in November. Brutal. It's gonna feel like I missed Halloween, So
yeah.
So we'll see. Although I am annoyed that Alan Wake 2 is not on Steam because Epic.
Yeah.
Although I did beat it on I got the platinum.
I'm excited for when it finally comes out on Steam and then they act like the Epic launch. If it ever does, if they'll act like the Epic launch never actually happened, they'll pull Kingdom Hearts.
But I doubt it because Epic made the game. So
yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. Yep, you're right.
Anyway, another game they showed was I think it's Archage Chronicles. I think that's how you say it. The combat looked fun, but I think the character models looked kind of cheap. It looks Souls light, not Souls. I guess it's a online game. No, yeah, it's an online game. So I didn't, not really for me. Is there anything you want to say about that?
No, this didn't catch my eye. I put all the stuff that caught my eye under the topic.
Okay,
This wasn't one of them.
no worries. And so Dragon Age, the Veilguard, we talked about this game
Yeah,
extensively at this point.
extensively.
But
Yeah.
the gameplay looks fun. The dragon combat looks awesome. I'm probably gonna play as a mage character. I think I'm pretty sold on the playing as a mage. I always play as a mage if I can.
I always play as a rogue, so that's what I'll be.
Yeah, and
I was talking to my partner. I'll talk about Inquisition later, but I was talking to my partner. I was like, "Hey Kim, I played Dragon Age 1. I was a rogue. Dragon Age 2. I was a rogue. Guess what? I am in Inquisition." She's like, "Rogue." I'm like, "Yep, you know it."
Yeah. So I don't want to go into too much detail because we talked about it enough. But it comes out on Halloween, and we're both probably gonna get it unless it gets bad.
Day
reviews.
one,
unless it's bad.
probably,
reviews.
yeah. Unless something really bad happens with the launch or with the reviews or something.
If it's like 80, 81, I'll still get it. If it's like 70 or 69 or something, then I probably wait. Nice. I don't make all my decisions based on Metacritic, but like you get what I'm saying. It's like,
if it's even 80s, I'm in. If it's 70s, I'll look at who is giving it those 70s and stuff like that. But like I really love Dragon Age at this point. I'm pretty locked in terms of the franchise. So and I'm loving Inquisition. So I'm probably there day one unless it really just doesn't do well.
Yeah, I'm probably day one, especially since like November. I'm not saying lacking because I think you need to have a slower month, but there's not enough. There's not a lot of games in November I don't care about, so it's a perfect time for me to play Dragon Age. So I'll probably get it day one. And then they showed Dynasty Warriors Origins, which it looked really cool. I love Dragon Age. I mean, not Dragon Age. I love Dynasty Warrior games. In once in a while, it's not something I could play every month because like it gets really repetitive. Like I mean, really repetitive. But like here and there, when I'm in the mood to just smack enemies for like an hour or so, these games are really fun. I'm not saying I'm getting this day one or anything, but it does interest me. It comes out.
It looks fun, but I've never been into Dynasty Warrior games personally. They didn't grab me as a kid. They don't grab me now.
Yeah.
So
I played a couple Nintendo version, like their own version of it, like with the Zelda and stuff.
Right.
But like other than that, like the real Dynasty Warriors game, I have not played one since PS2, and I have a lot of memories like renting them from Blockbuster. But this one catches my eye. It comes out January 17th on PC and PS5 and Xbox, I'm sure. Although it doesn't say Xbox. The Fantasian Neo Dimension, that's the mobile game that's coming to consoles. I still think it looks cheap, and it kind of interests me, but not something I'm gonna get. I think it comes out December 5th. Dory, do you have anything to say about that one, or
not really? Which one was this again?
It's like a turn-based mobile game, Fantasian Neo Dimension.
Oh yeah, no, this one did. See, I don't even remember it. No,
it was at the Nintendo show like this year as well. Not for me personally. A game that is for me day one. This is one of my October games I'm excited about. Is Fear the Spotlight, which comes out October 22nd. It's a perfect Halloween game. It's from the Blumhouse, the Blumhouse games. From the Summer Game Fest. This is the one that really caught my eye, especially at that show. This game looks awesome. I just love the whole VHS look to it. It looks really
cool.
It looks really.
And I love Blumhouse.
Yeah, and it looks like Crow County. Have you played that yet, Dory?
It was on my list it was on my wish list at one point.
Oh, you not anymore?
I just can't get into the tank controls kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll re-add it at some point. I don't know.
No worries. This one looks like a stealth game. It kind of reminds me of I don't know. I guess it looks like any survival horror game, but it's like it has like a Resident Evil vibe or Silent Hill vibe, where like the character has a flashlight and there's like stealth elements and you're sneaking around bad guys. So I guess there's no combat. It looks really awesome. It's day one for me. I'm sure it's not gonna be like $50 or anything. So that's definitely this could be like a great first start for the studio. I really like the devs when they were interviewed on the stage and stuff. Like everybody was passionate about horror and stuff. I love horror games. And I love indie horror games. So a lot of the best horror games ever are indie games. So this comes out October 22nd, and it comes out on PS5, PS4, and PC. It probably comes to Xbox as well, and maybe Switch too.
I definitely have interest in this, but I don't know if I'll be able to make time for it.
Yeah, no worries. We'll skip Fortnite. Hell is Us caught my eye. I didn't really know anything about it.
It caught mine too until they came out with information that there's no compass, no map, and no navigation at all. And I'm like, nope, no thank you. That's a Dragon's Dogma 2 situation. I'm good.
That's less of an issue for me, but I can definitely see it being an issue for you. But
yeah. I'll rant about it later, but fucking Dead Rising's map fucking sucks ass, and I can't make any goddamn heads or tails of the Willamette Mall and what the hell's going on there half the time.
The enemies in this game remind me of like the Kingdom Hearts nobodies, like the.
I didn't notice that, but that could be part of why it got my attention.
The gray ones, I'm talking about like the ones you smack around, and plus the character will kind of look like Death Stranding. Like the jacket, like the thing he was wearing, the poncho. It's like a gray poncho. It reminded me of Death Stranding.
Bro's trying to be a Cal Kestis.
Yeah, but it has like it has like the baseball cap. It looks like Cal Kestis meets Death Stranding, in a way.
It looks really fucking cool. The atmosphere is awesome.
Yeah.
I thought the gameplay looked neat, but any game that's gonna be, reduced navigation is not for me personally.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'm definitely interested in it. I'm not saying I'm getting
it. It looks really cool.
I'm not saying I'm definitely getting it. It just caught my eye.
Yeah, caught mine too.
Although we didn't get any release date or anything for it. Any release window.
It's a lot of pretty visuals, and by pretty I mean horrifying.
I'm gonna assume it's next year. And then big news for me personally, Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 1 and 2 is getting a remastered, which is so incredible. We talked about this before, like we were speculating about it. So I pretty much knew it was going to happen, but like just finally seeing it, awesome. These games are so underrated, one of the greatest games ever, both of them. I definitely recommend it. Aspyr, I think it's Asper or Aspyr, people that make the Star Wars remastered games. They usually do a pretty good job with them. So I'd imagine this game's going to be good. I don't know if it's going to hold up for modern audience, like newer. Like if you didn't grow up with it, I can see it being like, oh, this feels old. So I don't know. But I think they're really great games, and I really strongly recommend people play them. This comes out on December 10th, which is a great time. December is a perfect month for this to come out. Because at that point, I'll probably be done with all my major games. Because I usually like to do my top 10 list by like mid-December. So that's a great time for this game to come out. Do you have any interest in the story?
Some interest. I used to have a friend who was really into this game. And that's actually how I found out that it even existed. I don't know. I like look at reviews, and I'm not sure if I'll buy it or not. It's definitely like nerd wise, it's definitely up my alley. But gameplay wise, I'm not sure.
Yeah. I just don't know like how it's gonna hold up for somebody that didn't play these when they were younger. And just because it's gonna feel dated, I think. I guess if that bothers you though, then yeah, maybe you because you're around my age, like you can appreciate games like that. So you can like it doesn't bother you as much as like somebody that's like I don't know 18 to 20.
Sure.
Speaking of older games as well, they remastered the Lunar Remastered Collection, which is a lot of people are really happy about. It's like a classic JRPG series. Personally, this is one of those series I never played, so I don't really know much about it. I'm a big JRPG fan, but I can't play every JRPG series ever. So if people are happy, I'm happy for them. I'm assuming you have no interest in this.
Yeah, I saw it and I was like, cool, another HD remaster of an old school RPG, but
yeah. I can't complain about old games getting new life at all.
Exactly.
Now, Metro Awakening, VR game. I'm not gonna get it, but it looks really cool. If I was using my VR, I'd be more interested in it. I'm curious if it's coming to Steam. Actually, if it's coming to Steam and the PSVR 2 is on Steam now, like I might check it out, but we'll see. So when it comes to PC, I think I'll try it because it looks like an awesome VR game. So I know you have no interest in VR, so let's move on. Monster Hunter Wilds. This was a huge game show, and Tokyo Game Show went into a lot of detail with Monster Hunter Wilds as well. The only thing is we're not gonna go deep into it because neither of us are Monster Hunter fans. It's just not a series that clicks with me. I appreciate it and I respect how popular it is and how great it is for a lot of people. It just never clicked with me. I've tried a lot of Monster Hunter games. And I always put it down. It's just not. It's just one of those series that just doesn't seem to click with me. I've given them a fair shake, and but that's pretty much it. I'm not hyped for it. This is gonna be one of those games where everybody's gonna be talking about it, and I'm just gonna have to avoid the feeling of FOMO because I don't want to force myself to buy a game that everybody likes that I don't. So it's one of those things. I wouldn't shock me if this wins Game of the Year next year, like if it's a Game of the Year contender, because it looks like a quality game. I don't have to be into it to respect a quality game. So, and I'm assuming you have nothing to say. So.
No, I tried the Metro series and I
Monster
didn't particularly like. Oh, Monster Hunter. Sorry, we were talking about Metro earlier. Yeah, no interest either.
Okay. And then Pal World, of course, we talked about that enough today. Pal World's coming to PlayStation 5.
Yeah, this was very funny timing. Everybody was
like the same week.
Everybody was like lawsuit.
Yeah. No surprise. You know it's coming to PlayStation at some point. Xbox's audience is not big enough and for this kind of game, so it was really important that they came to PlayStation as well. It's cool news. I have it on Steam, so nothing doesn't appeal to me. And then really strange crossover. Stellar Blade and Nier Automata DLC.
It's not that strange. I honestly thought at various points that I was playing Nier Automata while playing Stellar Blade.
Well, it's not. It's strange because I just didn't see it coming at all. Like it's just kind of a random.
Yeah, it does seem kind of out of nowhere, and I'm not sure exactly what it means. Is it story overlap? Is Yoko Taro himself involved? I do love the quote from Yoko Taro, who's like, if you ask us to do something with Nier Automata, we will say yes because we love money and we want more money. I just love that man so much. He's very honest. But yeah, I have no idea what to expect from here. Is this story stuff? Is it just gameplay?
It doesn't. That's the thing is they didn't show that. All they showed was that there's a photo mode, and then they showed like a soundtrack, and that's it. And they showed like, oh, it's a crossover, and that was it. Like they didn't go into detail. It says coming soon, so I'm imagining maybe this year. I don't see why you would say coming soon if it was coming out next year. You would just say 2025, right? So it has to be this year, especially since Why the Iron is Hot. You know, Stellar Blade came out this year, so I think it's cool. I just don't. I just doesn't. They didn't really tell you anything. So this is like one of the issues I had with some of these reveals at the State of Play is like they kind of rush it and it's like, okay, cool crossover, like, but can you go into like what is it? Like what? It's just you wear a costume and that's it. Like that's kind of lame, isn't it? Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a lot of strong thoughts on this just because I don't really know what's going on with it.
Yeah.
But I am interested. I liked Stellar Blade, and obviously I love Nier Automata. It's a classic, so yeah.
I agree. And then another game that this is one of my biggest games of this showcase was the Midnight Walk. The Midnight Walk.
I was so excited to see this. I love Lost in Random, and this is done by the same studio that did that.
And I love the art style.
Claymation. It looks really cool.
Yes.
I'm very excited for Wallace and Gromit to come in at some point.
That's what I love about Lost in Random was the art style, very Tim Burton-esque. Yes. I love that art style. And this is probably day one for me. Easily. It comes out in the spring of 2025. And yeah, it looks incredible. I will definitely be getting this. This is definitely
I am very interested. I really like Lost in Random. I think you're the one who recommended it to me, Seb, if I remember correctly.
That's right.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But and I really enjoyed it. Wasn't a perfect game, but it really surprised me. It was especially for being like an EA indie game.
Right. It was a great I want to say 8 out of 10, 8 out of 5.
Yeah, I agree. Yep, 8 out of 10 for me too. Yeah, so I'm super stoked. I'll be paying attention to reviews and love to support the studio that's making really interesting, exciting work. So this was I actually like had just gotten out of work when the State of Play had started, so I like flipped it on and like this was happening, and you were like, "Oh, Lost in Random people." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
And it's a VR game too, apparently. So I wonder how they're gonna do that. Moving on to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge, Radical Reptiles is DLC. It's a free update basically. It launched at the day of the State of Play, so that's cool. And then Sonic X Shadow Generations. Is getting a Sonic the Hedgehog 3 movie pack voiced by
Keanu Reeves and more things.
Voiced by Keanu Reeves. That was awesome. It's been the year of Shadow. I've seen Shadow multiple times in different iterations. Even on Batman Day, they had Shadow dressed as Batman. It was really cool. It's the year of Shadow. This is really awesome. I will get this game. I think Sonic X Shadow Generations. I'm not getting it day one, but I will be interested. I'm getting it at some point, and it's coming out. The movie pack comes out December 12th. So again, a good time for this kind of thing to come out. And then finally, Towers of Agzabah. I think I hear you say it. It looked cool, although I'm not really into city building. Personally, not my kind of game. But the visuals looked really awesome. I like all the creature designs. It really stood out. And early access comes out in November on PS5, so I'm assuming it's gonna be the same thing on PC. I'll keep my eye on it. It looks interesting. Any thoughts before we move on?
I honestly don't even remember this one.
Okay. Yeah, it looks cool. I just like the visuals.
You froze for me.
I'm frozen. All right, so that's the State of Play.
Deb, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still there. The recording's still going on.
I don't want to hang up because then I might ruin it.
All right, so what we're playing. So there's a lot of games I've been playing. I played like 7 to 8 games over the last 2 weeks, but I'm not gonna have all of them today. I'll just hit on the main ones that I put the most gameplay into, the most time into. First of all, Visions of Mana. I beat it. Really good game. It's gonna be my top 10 as of right now. I love the visuals, the combat.
Do you think I should play it?
Yes.
Okay. I was already probably going to, but I just wanted to hear you say it.
Now, the only thing I would be wary of is that there's a lot of difficulty spikes in this game. The bosses get really hard, especially at the end. That was my biggest issue. Is like it feels like a game you're going through really well, and then all of a sudden there's just a boss that's just like this is very difficult. And then you got to grind a little bit. It's typical JRPG, I guess, but that was my biggest issue with it. And the storyline itself, as I said when I did the review, it's nothing great. It's a very standard JRPG story about power, friendship, and being there for your friends and sacrifice and all that stuff. There's always a goddess, and there's always like a chosen one, the chosen ones, the group of teenagers who need to save the world, that kind of thing. Don't expect anything. Again, don't expect anything new. But it was fine. Like, it was perfectly fine. The music was great, and the characters were all likable. It is very. You have to like anime kind of stuff to be into this, though. Like, it's not like it's not a very grounded, serious fantasy story. It's not Final Fantasy VII or something like that. Like, it's more of like, it's very cutesy in parts. Like, it like has that anime, like everybody talks over the top or cheesy. You know what I'm talking about? Like, you have to like anime to be in that kind of thing. If you're not,
that's my type of shit, so I'm good with that.
Yeah, because some people are like just don't like that at all, and like if you're not into that at all, I can't recommend this. This is very much like, I'm not saying chibi kind of thing, but it's very anime. The way everybody talks, everybody's expressive and over the top kind of thing. But it's a really good game. I really recommend it. It's my top 10 games. It's 30 hours. It took me about 30 hours.
What did you think about the gameplay?
Gameplay is really good. It's an action RPG, so you dodge and you move around, and I think the wheels, like the wheel, it has a lot of like what you use your spells and stuff. It was very easy to use, and it plays really well. It's nothing amazing, but it's pretty standard action RPG kind of stuff. I don't want to say it's a casual game because it has a really hard difficulty spikes, but in some parts, but the gameplay overall is like it's very easy to understand. It's a casual, more casual action
Right.
RPG. There's nothing. There's no convoluted mechanics or anything. You can pick. You have a party of 3. You can choose any characters you want. There's like several characters in this game. They're very different from each other. I think the biggest appeal to this game is the class system. I think the class system in this game is awesome. I think it's really fun mixing and matching what characters you want to play as and what like you can play like a paladin build or you can play like a dark build or a mage kind of build or a thief kind of build and different characters and they all every character can wear different costumes. You can't have the same character. The characters can't wear the same class, but you can mix and match which ones you like. I did it based on like how strong my weapons were. So if I had like a really awesome scythe, then I would just give the character like that class because it was the strongest weapon. But the class system in this game is I think the best part of this game. Besides the visuals, I will say the visuals in this game are amazing. And I don't mean like in a realistic like Black Myth Wukong kind of way. I mean like its own art style is very unique from most other games and most other Square Enix games. It's very different from Final Fantasy. Like Final Fantasy has its own style. This game is very much its own Mana series. Mana series has its own art style. I even when they revealed this game, I think I was watching the show with Dory or Mitch or James or one of them, and I was like, "That's Mana." Like that, I know it's a Mana game, and like, yep, I was right. And it really pops, especially on my laptop. If you have if you have a nice screen on your laptop or a nice TV. This game really looks nice. Like the colors really are bright and colorful. It really pops. Like I'm not even exaggerating. Like it really looks nice. One of the nicest looking art style game I've ever seen. Like in terms of the colors, like it really looks nice. Like in the environments and the backgrounds look amazing. Like especially later on, like around when you're climbing a mountain or whatever. Like the distance of like how the mountain looks really awesome for this kind of game. So I really recommend it. So that's Visions of Mana. It's gonna be my top 10 game of the year, unless something still got more games coming out. But I really recommend it if you're into that kind of thing. I love anime and JRPGs, so and action RPGs. So if you're not into that, I can't recommend it. But if you are, then yes, definitely get it. Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2. This game is a dude bro game. Like this is a Unga Bunga game. This is like
Ooga booga,
yeah.
unga bunga.
This is an Unga Bunga game. This is literally that's all this game is that. I'm not gonna talk about the multiplayer stuff because I've only played the campaign so far. I haven't beaten yet. I'm near the end. So first and foremost, this is based on their. It's very similar to Gears of War. The first game has a lot of influence from Gears of War. This is the second game to that. It's really, really fun. It is really fun. It has a really great mix of melee combat and a great mix of gun combat. So it's like Gears of War, but if it had more melee. It does get really repetitive, but it's really fun. For a couple hours, this game is incredible. If this game was like 40 hours long, then you would definitely feel it. But the campaign is quite short. So just go into this game expecting a Oonga Boonga game and just have fun with it. Turn your brain off and just fight bugs and stuff, and you'll absolutely love this game. Because the visuals are great. It looks really. There's some performance issues here and there, but for the most part, it looks great. And I think the aesthetic is awesome. Like being like a big giant marine guy wearing like really awesome armor with skulls on it, and we're fighting for an empire and. Like the home base, everything looks really cool. Like the whole aesthetic of the universe is awesome. Like this is a really cool, unique franchise in that regard. It's a dude bro game. Like you know what I mean? It's like Helldivers. Like you just have fun with it.
Bro.
Yeah, it is meant for co-op. The bots are serviceable. They're not the best AI, but it's fine. I never had it. They never really got my way. But this is definitely more fun with friends. This is definitely meant for co-op. Like a lot of the objectives of the missions tend to be like typical guard the lever while someone's pulling it. Or, you know what I mean? Yo, we have to open the door, so we have to guard this guy for 2 minutes. That kind of gameplay. Very standard. You can customize your loadout between missions. Yeah, you can pick between a primary weapon, a sidearm, and you have you have a close combat accessory. So you can mix and match which one do you want to use. I use the chainsaw sword, which is really cool. You find plenty of weapon caches. They're scattered throughout all the levels. They have like flamethrowers and plasma blasters and sniper rifles and power swords and a bunch of explosives. And they have weapons for every encounter, so you never know what you're gonna get. But they all feel different from each other. The gameplay always feels unique, different from each other. It does get repetitive because you're still fighting fighting enemies over and over again, but it feels different enough where it feels really fun for a couple hours. And so you play as and then there's checkpoints as well. So if you die, it has very nice checkpoints. It's not like you have to start all the way back. I feel like the checkpoints were really good because you're gonna die quite often if you let yourself get swarmed. You die really quick. And there's like a lot of enemies on screen, so you have to be sure you move out of the way and keep a distance and get the right power ups. Basically, you have to, it's like Doom where you have to do a special move on the enemies to get your shield back. So there'll be an execution button after you do enough damage. It will actually execute the monsters, and it does like the Doom animation where you crush their head or something. You have to do that basically to get your shield back, or you'll die really fast. So it's like so the best way I could sum up this game up in terms of the gameplay and visuals and everything is that it's a mix between Gears of War and Doom, which sounds really awesome, and it is. It's just expect a very standard game, like a very repetitive, gameplay focused, dude bro game. And I think the biggest issue with this game, probably for me, is the story. It has a lot of lore that like doesn't really explain very well, and it kind of just expects you to know. Like the beginning part of it makes sense and explained well, but then like as it gets later on, it kind of just the game just delves into fuck the story. We're just gonna do gameplay nonstop, and the third act kind of falls off in terms of like any story world building. So the protagonist is Captain Titus. I think he's the main character in the first game. I never played the first game, but I think that's correct. And it takes place like 100 years after the first game, I want to say. Like I said, the story is like fine. It's serviceable. Like it's easy enough to understand what you're trying to do, but it's just very like bare bones. The best way I can explain it. There's a couple twists here and there, but it's still very bare bones, and it's very serious. I kind of wish there was a little more humor. Like Gears of War has some humor in it. You know what I mean? The characters have fun, even though they're fighting an apocalyptic alien species. The Gears of War characters kind of joke around with each other still, and they're still like friends and stuff. This game feels like a little too ultra serious at times, or if most of it. I kind of wish they would make it a little more lighthearted sometimes, because no one acts like super serious 100% of the time. And then you fight two main enemies, which is like the alien Tyranids and the Chaos Space Marines. The Tyranids are like, I think that's how you say it. They're like a swarm of bugs, basically. And they're trying to destroy everybody, like all life. And then the Chaos Marines are trying to like achieve like a Dark Gods plan or something. So that's the two main enemies of that game. Now, that's pretty much it for that game. So what I'm going to do to mix it up is I don't want to just talk for 45 minutes straight. So what I'm going to do is you talk about your two games, and then I'll rotate back to my last two games, and we'll do it that way. That way we're not talking for an hour each.
Sure.
Give us a break. So Dory,
yeah.
You've been playing the Metaphor demo.
Right. So I played that, finished that up yesterday. So just putting timestamps. Yeah, Metaphor demo, Metaphor ReFantazio. It came out a couple days ago. As soon as the demo was announced, I was on that. Overall, just to set the scene, I had an excellent time with it. I do have some quibbles with some game design stuff that I find frustrating, but generally speaking, I thought it was excellent. It looks like a GOTY contender for me, or at least maybe like top 5, top 7, something like that. First off, no surprise, the UI is breathtaking. the aesthetic, the all the flashy cuts, the cinematics. I mean, I would fucking marry this aesthetic if I could. It's just gorgeous. No surprise again, the soundtrack is a banger. I have seen animes that have looked like full actual animes that look worse than Metaphor ReFantazio, which is, you know, a video game at first and a kind of an anime second. Which is all to say, like, the anime esque cutscenes look incredible. Graphics look really good too. All of the character models look great. The cities look really, you know, they look like they should. I was about 30 minutes into the game, and I had already heard like 2 really tough as hell lines. I don't really remember what they were, but I just remember being struck by 2 different lines within 30 minutes, which is to say the writing is very strong as well. So this game really is just hitting on pretty much all cylinders. I will say the combat's fairly standard. It doesn't like, you know, it doesn't like call out to me. There's no time stuff. You can guard, but it takes a turn. You don't like time it or anything like that. So you know, it's fairly standard in terms of turn-based combat. But I had a good time with it. I liked it. I thought different, you know, again, typical JRPG stuff. It had certain enemies have certain weaknesses. Some are resistant to physical damage. Some are resistant to magic. You got to kind of figure that out. You can figure out like how tough a fight's going to be by using fairy vision before you you know, go over to a fight. So if it's yellow, they're about the same level as you. If it's green, I think, or blue, I forget, then they are weaker than you. And if they're red, obviously they're stronger than you. Fights are typically flashy and fast. Most of the fights that I did ended in less than a minute. So you can't say the fight's over, say they're welcome. I think they're really well paced for the most part. There's some amount of strategy involved, like you can move your characters to the front row so that it increases their attack but lowers their defense, or the back row, which does the opposite. And sometimes you might want to do that if a boss is like doing a big AoE attack, which will usually be kind of telegraphed ahead of time by, you know, the boss, the little text box saying that the boss is targeting the whole group or something. So usually you have a turn to react to that. There's some of my frustrations. There's not enough checkpoints, I feel like, in the dungeons. And sometimes there's not a good way to get your magic back. Magic is like a big part of what makes your attacks worth doing. What I'm trying to say is, like, the magic fuels like your archetypes, which are like these creatures you can turn yourself into, and how you can do your most powerful attacks. But besides like one item and healing, like resting overnight, there's really no way to get your magic back. And so if you're in a dungeon and you don't want to, like, you know, you don't want a day to go forward because of course it's Persona like, so it runs on a calendar, you just kind of have to leave, or you just have to bear and grin it and hope that you either find some random items in the environment, or maybe you get a level up and you get some magic back or something like that. Even then, I don't think the magic comes back. The save points don't get you magic either. It doesn't get you health. All the save rooms are good for is literally just saving. And you can also mix up your archetypes if you want. So in the demo, I had healer, mage, warrior, knight, brawler, seeker. I think those were the 6 I got. And I mostly stuck to what everybody was assigned to. I didn't really feel like nobody gave me big mage energy. I know that's kind of on me, so probably that made it harder for me than it needed to. But it did feel, to me, I don't know, I was kind of frustrated with the system just because, like, I wish I had gotten characters that were more mage-like. Because the story at the beginning and the demo does carry over into the main game. But a lot of the characters you get are very warrior-focused in their backstory. And so I know this is me being a weirdo, but it feels weird to, like, make like a knight, a healer, or a mage, and like make like this guy who's clearly a warrior class was assigned it suddenly turn him into a healer or a mage. So again, I mean that's on me. That's my weird little hang up. And I still ended up completing the demo anyway, but I probably made it harder for myself than I needed to towards the end. Yeah, let's see. I will also say last little criticism I have is that the repeated voiceover lines during battles are annoying. Sometimes your party members will go down, and every time it comes back to your turn, and if you don't have a way to revive them, your fairy ally will say, "Oh no, someone is down. Go get them up." And like eventually, like I started yelling at my TV, like, "Lady, if I could bring him back to life, I fucking would have by now. Like it's been like 5 turns. Like, can we move on?" Like anyway, it was that a little criticism, but frustrating to me that they would just put that over and over and over again. Honestly, give me the Kingdom Hearts fucking sound or the Pokemon music or anything else than a repeated voiceover line reminding me that A, I suck, and B, I'm not fixing my mistakes. It's just really frustrating. The demo is a little over 6 hours, which is great. You don't usually see demos that are that long. Carries over to the main game, like I said before. I had an awesome time with it. Despite those small criticisms, I loved my time with it. I think this is going to be a GOTY contender, or at least a top 5 contender for me. I'm really excited to play more once it comes out. So I'll definitely be buying it. I will move on to Dead Rising.
Before you do,
okay.
Yeah, before you do,
yeah,
I'm interested in this game for sure. I love Persona, and the UI looks great. I know the PC version is having issues, so I'm curious, like, about that.
Oh, right. Worth noting that I played it on the PS5, so I didn't have any of the issues people have been talking about. But yes, that is true.
Yeah, and it should be in my top 10 games of the year. I would think it's one of those October games I'm definitely getting, unless the reviews are disappointing. I don't see it being disappointing.
I don't see that happening.
Yeah. Will it be like? Will I love it as much as like Persona 5 or something, or 4 or whatever? I don't know, but we'll see. But it looks really. Yeah. It looks interesting. I mean, the UI alone sells this game, I think. But the storyline is really important, right? Like the storyline has to be interesting to really click. The story is everything in these games, besides the gameplay. So it's very important that it's good. But what you're saying sounds like it is. So we'll see. I'm curious, like how it's gonna play on the Steam Deck, especially. It feels like a good handheld game. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Actually, before you do Dead Rising, let's keep Dead Rising and let's do Dead Rising and Plucky Squire last.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna do, because I might do that as a Dead Rising as the thumbnail. I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
I'm kind of still thinking about it. So let's.
You want me to talk about Inquisition?
Yeah, can you do Inquisition now, please?
Sure. So in my long, never-ending quest to catch up to where Dragon Age is, I have decided to play Inquisition. Whereas Dragon Age 2 felt like somebody tried to impersonate Dragon Age Origins through a Groucho Marx kind of disguise, Dragon Age Inquisition feels like Dragon Age Origins' edgier older brother who really got into Ubisoft and was like, "Bro, check this out. This is going to be awesome." And actually, I actually think it's really good. I'm not going to say it's as good as Origins because it's not. But I do think this game generally gets open world games done right. Now, I'm not going to say all the side quests are masterful, but that kind of stuff doesn't usually bother me anyway. All the side quests feel like they are meaningful to the world. They usually have good rewards, and they don't take a ton of time, and they don't feel like a pain to complete. And like those are like the 4 like really important pillars for me. Like if it's not like amazing storyline wise, obviously that's a drawback. But I really want that out of Dragon Age from the main story. I like having side stories that are, well written or whatever. But it's not as big of a deal to me. And so I played about, I want to say 12 hours. I'm having a really great time. I think this is, it looks incredible. For a game that's 10 years old, I mean, I'm playing it on ultra settings. At least my PC can do that much. But I'm playing it on ultra settings. It looks gorgeous. I do have some mods installed. For example, I do have a dialogue wheel overhaul. I nullified fall damage, quicker looting, search radius increased, no waiting at the war table. So a couple of quality of life improvements. So I'm not going to pretend like I'm playing the 2014 Classic or anything like that. But I wouldn't also say that any of these mods are like huge game changers, basically. I think the most you could say is that the fall damage one changes things a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, the combat took me some time to get used to. And eventually, after about a half an hour, I realized, BioWare wants me to use a controller because I tried using mouse and keyboard and I was like, this feels awful. What are we doing here? I have to hold and press the mouse button to attack? Like, why would I do that? And of course, you can remodify the key bindings if you really want to. But I was looking it up on various Reddit threads and search engine and whatever. And a lot of people are like, you're probably better off like using a controller. That's really what BioWare wants you to do. So that's what I've been doing ever since, and it's been working great for me. Obviously, the characters are still amazing. The writing's still excellent. The storytelling's excellent. It's Dragon Age. It's BioWare. You know, I know it's 2014, and they were about to hit their slump, but this is just before BioWare went off the rails with, you know, their Iron Man knockoff and everything else that happened to them. So I really like it. I don't have a ton to say, but I am really enjoying it. I, again, don't think it's as good as Origins, but I do think it's better than Dragon Age 2, for sure. I think it's really great, maybe excellent.
Yeah.
I'm maybe like 15 hours in. So out of a, 50, 60-hour game, maybe longer, depending on how much I do. So, obviously I have a ton of content left. I could sour on it. I could even think it beats Origins. I don't know. But I'm very high on it right now. I do have some minor little things here and there, of course. When you're on the horse, there's like this wind little thing going by your horse, or like a excuse me, kind of like a wind effect, as if you're going fast. But I can tell from how fast my horse is going, I am not really going that fast. In fact, sometimes I don't even use my horse because I feel like walking is just almost just as good. So I think that's kind of silly. They gave you the kind of wind effect on your horse to make you feel like you're going fast. But I'm not going to be tricked by that, BioWare. I know your tricks. I know that one. But yeah, I mean, that's a really minor thing. I think all the new companions are great. Josephine's awesome. Sarah is great. I love that I actually have 2 different companions that I want to romance, because I did have that in Dragon Age 1, but then I realized, to my horror, about 3/4 of the way through that that one of them wasn't romanceable, so I just went with the elf. And then Dragon Age 2, I went with Meryl. But yeah, so it's nice to have options, I guess. Yeah, that's really about it. I think the combat's fun, and the characters are a joy to be around. I do have a mod that increases their amount of dialogue with each other, because when you're doing an open world game like this, and this is an open world game, it's important to have some chatter going on. And for some weird reason in the base game, they don't really do that as much as you would think they would. So I have a mod that kind of adjusts it. But yeah, that's about it for right now. I'm really enjoying myself. And yeah, Seb, unless you have anything to add to Inquisition, you can go ahead and talk about your next 2 games.
Yeah, I don't. It's been a long time since I played Inquisition. I remember the open world in the beginning being kind of rough. Like that, I remember that being a consistent criticism, that the beginning of the game is really slow to pick up, and the open world doesn't get better until like later on. Is that true? Did you like the beginning of the game?
I didn't find any major issues with the game. Certainly, it's a big step in another direction for the Dragon Age franchise. I wouldn't blame someone for feeling like it might take a little bit of time to get used to. And the prologue is an hour long, and then you're kind of dropped into the hinterlands, which is the first major open world area. I didn't have any serious issues. I gravitated to it pretty quickly. It does feel checklisty, but like I said, everything that you're doing feels important, and it's not a big hassle to do. And the gameplay is so fun that I don't mind it.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to blame people for feeling that way, but for me personally, I had a great time pretty much from the word go.
Yeah, that was my issue with the game, was the checklist part. Like
Yep.
I prefer things to be more streamlined. I don't like I have to do a bunch of chores, basically, to get where I want
Yeah,
to
and
go.
that's totally fair. I mean, you know me, I'm super picky about open world games, and I'm super picky about about their choices of how they handle quests. So I did kind of think that I was going to be pretty critical of it,
Yeah.
but surprisingly, it hasn't really bothered me so far. But again, I'm only like 15 hours in. Inquisition's a pretty long game. I could sour on it or get burnt out on it, but right now it's not bothering me.
All right, so let me talk about my last two games of the episode. The first one is Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics, which came to every platform but Xbox. Well, now I think it is now on Xbox. It was coming to Xbox. So I've been playing it on Steam. I've been playing it on my Steam Deck mainly. It's a perfect handheld game. So if you're gonna get this collection, I strongly recommend it if you have a handheld, whether it be Switch or Steam, or the ROG Ally. So Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is the big one. There's multiple games in this collection, but Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is the best one. Of course, it's the crown jewel of this collection. It's one of the greatest fighting games ever. It features a 56 character roster, and it has that popular 3 vs 3 team setup that people love. And it's really really fun. Although of course this game is famously unbalanced and it has like a lot of top tier characters. Magneto and the Sentinel being like the higher end of the tiers. They kick you, a really good player will kick your ass with these characters. This collection also has like a really strong nostalgia appeal. It has 7 games that are really, they look really great. They really hold up. They're from the 90s. Capcom's like art style back then really holds up really well. I really love that art style. Super Nintendo era really holds up. You can play a lot of Super Nintendo games better now than like Nintendo 64 games. There's something about 2D that holds up better than 3D. You know what I mean? Like Super Mario World holds up better than Super Mario 64, I would say. Even though I love Super Mario 64 a lot. So this game has X-Men, Children of the Atom, and Marvel superheroes and stuff. But the thing is, what this game reminded me of is how difficult these games were back in the day. Because oh my god, the AI kicks my ass. Like the AI is it's just beyond difficult. It's like ridiculously difficult. Now there's options to change the difficulty. You can put it on the lowest difficulty if you want or stuff. And there's a lot of accessibility options to like make you hit harder and stuff. But if you didn't have that, oh my god, the AI is so hard. It's like ridiculously hard, and it has that like combo system that's old school, like from like the 90s, where you have to rotate the stick and there's a bunch of buttons you have to hit. It's like I never clicked with that. That's like the Street Fighter kind of style, and just I've never been that kind of fighting game fan. I prefer like Tekken. So that doesn't like appeal to me, but I figure I've enjoyed it enough because I love Marvel and I love a lot of the Capcom characters. So it really is an amazing time going back and playing these games on a collection. Now I can understand the pricing being an issue. Is $50 for this collection. I think it's worth it if you're gonna put serious time into it. But I can just say right for a sale. If you get it for like half the price, this is like I was 100% worth it. And also I've seen people mixed about like their lack of features. Like I know there's this concept art and soundtracks like in a museum mode, but people are wanted more from these games in terms of like if there's any how to like if there's any content about like how they made it, or I've seen some criticisms about that, like and then the online functionality is not great, and it doesn't have crossplay. Like that's a big issue. Like you have to play with the people that have their platform, I believe. So that was an issue for people. Though I've only played single player, so I haven't really run into that. But I did see people complain about that. And then, but overall, it's a great collection for people that grew up in this era, like I did when I was a kid. and it even has like games like that Punisher beat 'em up game, which is very obscure, I guess. But the main draw of this collection is Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Like that's the pinnacle of arguably if not the greatest fighting game of all time, it's one of the best, most beloved games of all time. So I strongly recommend it for that alone. If you want to play like with your friends and get in the competitive scene and stuff, of course you can always emulate and everything. But if you wanted like an official collection with like trophy support or like or Steam achievements or something, this collection is great. So I recommend it. I would probably wait for a sale unless you really want it, but yeah, it's a good collection. I'm assuming Dory, you would have no interest in this because you don't like fighting games.
Not big into fighting games, so this ain't for me. But
yeah,
it's cool.
Yeah, and then the other game I've been playing is Epic Mickey Rebrushed, which is a remaster of an old game. First of all, the graphics look really good. I've been playing on my Steam Deck, and it's verified on the Steam Deck. And it looks really, really good. Performance is really well on the Steam Deck. I have not played it on my regular PC or my laptop, so I'm sure it'd be even better. But for what I'm seeing, it looks like a quality platformer. The visuals are good. There's more detailed. There's more smooth animations. There's still aspects of it that look old and dated. Like you compare it to Astrobot, for example, then obviously it's an old game, right? Astrobot just looks like a modern game. Look, you compare it to like Super Mario Wonder. That game looks like way more new, of course. It has just more going on in the background and stuff. Like if you really look at this game, yeah, it looks dated, but they did a good job cleaning up the visuals. But the big thing about this game that people didn't like back in the day is the control scheme. The controls are more modern now. It feels easy to play. And the camera's not your enemy anymore. The camera is really good. I've had no issues with it. So that's like the biggest difference, I think. 'Cause I feel like the first game might be unplayable for a lot of people because it just didn't play well because of those reasons. It has like a painting and thinning mechanic where there's gonna be like in the environment there's like walls that you can basically erase with your paintbrush, and you can find secrets like that, go through the wall like that, or like the platforming on the bottom, you can create platforms using the paint. It has that's what the main focus of this game is. And you use the paintbrush to fight enemies and stuff. Nothing insane. It's very simple, but it's good. I think it feels really good. You can also switch from the traditional controls to the Wii controls. Which I haven't done. I've been just sticking with regular controls. I think that because a couple issues I have with this game. First of all, this game has a choice system, so the decisions you make in this game actually affect the game's story, which is very odd in a platformer. It's unique and odd at the same time. But the problem is this game has a lot of missing content in terms of there's things you just straight up miss. There's things that are hidden around the place, around the levels, and you can easily miss these things. And if it affects the storyline, it's disappointing because I don't like that. I feel like collectathons should be optional if you want it. I don't think you should be forced to find secrets to affect the story. And I'll get admit a lot of the secrets are quite obscure in some places. Sometimes it's obvious if you explore some parts, and then sometimes they'll just be way on the side, and something you would never think to look at, and then you just totally miss it. So I think that's disappointing. That feels dated, or at least I know games still do that today, but I feel like it's more accessible with these things where you can go back, replay a level or something. I don't know if you can even replay a level in this game because it feels like it's very linear. It goes once you finish a level, you move on to the next level. It's not really you jump into a portal or anything. It's more like you just kind of you finish an area and then you go to the next area and there's another area. It's not like a hub like Crash Bandicoot or something or Spyro where you jump in here's the new this world and this world and this world. But the aesthetic is cool. I really like the mix of obscure franchises from Disney. I'm a couple hours in and it has a darker version of Disney World where it has Dumbo's ride or something or the spinning teacups. That's cool, and it has a lot of references Steamboat Willie. There's It switches between 2D and 3D, and there's like a 2D version of Steamboat Willie. So you have Pete like driving the ship, and it has just like black and white. And Mickey, I really love Mickey's art style. I love that. I've always loved old school Mickey's look. Like the classic 1920s Mickey, the black and white Mickey. But he has these red shorts and everything on. But I think it looks great, and it's always nice seeing Oswald and stuff. So that's really cool. If you're really into Disney, I really recommend this game. Sure, it's really easy, this game. If you die, it doesn't really matter. The checkpoint, you go right back. The checkpoints are very forgiving, and the 2D levels get repetitive, and they're very simplistic. That's pretty much how I sum up this game. Is that it's very easy, simplistic platformer. If you like 3D platformers, I would not strongly recommend. I'd recommend it on a sale probably. If you're not into platformers at all, I would steer clear from this game. If you really like Disney, this is definitely a game you should play. A strong Disney fan will really like this game for a lot of reasons. A lot of references, a lot of cool things that you would pick up if only if you're a Disney fan. But overall, it's like a 7.5 kind of game, I guess. Like, it's nothing amazing, but it's a good, fun platformer, like a simple one. So that's my review of that game. It's I think the problem is it gets repetitive sometimes. The platforming can be a little janky. It's not as clean as other platformers. Like, you can fall off. Like, you meant to jump on a platform, but like you don't land where you want to. But the biggest problem with this game is the content being missing. Like you just miss things because it's so obscure, and then you end up missing a story element because of that. So that's my biggest issue with it. So anyway, fine, and so that is my two games. So Dory, actually, what I would do, Dory, is I want you to talk about Plucky Squire first, if you can.
Okay, good. All right, so Plucky Squire. I only got 2 games left. It's been a packed couple of weeks, so let's get on with it. Plucky Squire. I don't have a ton to say about this game. But that's not because I didn't enjoy it. I guess overall, like, I had a great time with it, but it didn't like leave a lasting impression for me. The best thing is that this game introduced me to PS Extra, which is actually a much better deal than I thought it was. Excuse me. I got it so basically I got Plucky Squire for $15, which is a steal because I believe it's normally $30. So I got it like 50% off on a brand new game. So that's awesome. And then the PS Extra library is actually pretty decent. I started playing The Witcher, Wild Hunt. I started playing, I added like Night in the Woods and a couple other games. I'm even side-eyeing a couple of Assassin's Creed games that I never got around to. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe Seb has been talking up PS Extra for months, and I just wasn't really listening because I didn't want to pay another subscription fee.
Yeah.
But at least for 1 month, I'm going to pay the $15.
Yep.
And feel like I got my money's worth.
Yep. And you can play extra game, like older games too, I think. Oh no, that's premium.
That's premium.
Yeah.
So Plucky Squire, it's a 2D plus 3D action platformer puzzle thing. It's got a lot more. I feel like it's a action puzzler that happens to have platforming every now and then. It's not really a heavy platformer. Regardless, I love the aesthetic. I love the aesthetic of the 2D side more than the 3D side, which does kind of feel like kind of a Link's Awakening Switch version knockoff kind of. I mean, it's not. I'm not saying it's bad or that nobody else can do that art style, but it's hard to look at it and not think, oh, well, that just looks like Link's Awakening. But it didn't. I mean, I didn't even play Link's Awakening, so I'm not going to pretend like that bothered me a ton. The voice acting, when it does happen, is good. I thought the writing was clever and cute. It's never like amazing, but I liked it overall. The gameplay when you're in the 2D realm or 3D realm always felt pretty responsive for me. There's some stealth sections that I was like just okay on in terms of like them being there, but like they weren't big deals. They were usually pretty short. overall the game just doesn't really. It doesn't like move me greatly, but I had a great time playing it for what it was. It was under 10 hours. I think it was I want to say 8 hours or 7 hours or something like that. There are a lot of stealth sections towards the end of the game, and you have to refight a lot of the bosses that you've already beaten. I know when IGN did their review, the reviewer was not very happy with that. Personally, to me, it didn't bother me. I felt like the sections were well done, and I was a little repetitive, but I had a good enough time, and the checkpoints were pretty forgiving. So overall, I would definitely recommend Plucky Squire through PlayStation Extra. I would not recommend it for $30, but I would absolutely recommend it for PS Plus. So I liked it overall. I had a great time. I don't think it's going to be my top 10. I liked Stellar Blade just a little bit more. I felt like I had a little bit more of a good time with Stellar Blade, but the difference is like splitting hairs. I couldn't tell you. I guess just the combat basically of Stellar Blade wins it over Plucky Squire. But I had a great time with it, and I do recommend it, especially for PS Extra.
Yeah, Plucky Squire. I bought it. I just haven't played it yet. Developer games are always very gameplay focused. They're never like anything major or story driven or anything. Like, they're always just fun, short experiences. We have fun for 5 hours, and that's awesome. These type of games are very important. I'll talk about it more next week if I get to it. But I'm not expecting this game to be anything incredible, but it looks like a fun, charming 6-hour experience, which I think that's what it is, right?
Yeah, that's what it is. I don't think it's winning any game of the year. The soundtrack too. I felt like it was just kind of there.
Yeah.
I felt like they could have done a lot more with it. There's some techno stuff. There's some heavy metal. There's some nice folksy music, but none of it like.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the soundtrack is a good metaphor for the game itself. A lot of good diverse. Oh, I want to mention too. Some of y'all probably already seen this, but there's a lot of good gameplay diversity too. You have like a punch up, or what is that game called with Mike Tyson? Mike Tyson's Punch Up,
Punch
or
Out.
Punch Out. Punch Out. They got that, and then also like they have a turn-based section. They have like a twin stick shooter section. It's really fun, and it mixes up the combat really nicely. I really liked the end game boss. It felt challenging, but not like oppressively so. It was a really nice balance. It's just a really nice game. I don't like have a like. I don't know. This is a tough one because it's like I don't want to make it seem like the game's not good. It is. It's a great game, but it's like it doesn't like. I don't think it leaves much with you after you're done, which is fine. Not every game has to do that. But for me, if it's going to make my top 10 list, then it probably should. But yeah, Plucky Squire, great game. Get it on PS Extra. $15 is a steal. If they're still offering that right now, definitely pick it up. And if you really want to play it on PC or Switch or something like that, I don't know if I can recommend it for $30. I'd probably wait for a sale.
I got it.
I think 20 is a nice sweet spot for this, but yeah.
I got it for 21 on CD keys.
Yeah, I think that's a great price.
Yeah. I agree. But you can play. I probably could have waited though, but I wanted to play it because I know it was a short experience. I can knock it out in a couple of days. All right, so you're also playing Dead Rising. What's it called? DRDR or whatever.
DRDR. Digital Revolution. Dead Dance. I don't know.
352 over.
358 over 252.
0.8.
Carry the 5. Anyway. So all right. So I have some mixed stuff about this game. Sorry, let me do some timestamps here for a second. So I was really into that topic. Okay. So I played the original Dead Rising when I was younger. I remember really enjoying it on the Xbox 360. I'm actually playing it on my PS5, which feels sacrilegious and weird.
And I beat it this year, a couple months ago, as I mentioned before.
I'm very mixed on this game, and I don't want to be. I want to be more positive on this game. I love goofy horror schlock. I love what this game is going for. I love zombie movies. Night of the Living Dead, one of my favorite horror movies of all time. I've seen plenty of zombie movies. Shaun of the Dead, of course, excellent movie. But some of this stuff's just not clicking for me. I don't have an inherent issue with time stuff. Majora's Mask, one of my favorite games of all time. I love the way that Nintendo handled how everything was done, but you needed a guide if you were playing that and you were a kid. Like, there was no way you were going to naturally figure things out unless you were going to fuck around and find out with the fucking moon. This is kind of similar. I had an experience where I had completed the first 2 cases. I'm mainlining the story. I'm saving survivors every now and then, but mostly I'm focusing on the main story because that's what I'm there for. I know some people just like playing it just to kill zombies and just to experience the psychopath fights. That's fine. That's not really for me. I want the main story. I want to know what's going on. If I want to do another replay, which I probably won't, then I'll do that. But as it is, I had this experience where I had done the first 2 cases. I wanted to save some survivors before I went back for the case 3 or whatever it was. I ended up spending a bunch of time getting those survivors and getting back to the security room to give Brad the medicine, only to be told by the game that I had failed the time limit for case 4, which was supposed to start at 11 a.m. or something. Or maybe it was case 3. I don't know. It's not important. I just was so really, really upset in the moment. I lost like an hour or so of progress, all because the game couldn't bother to tell me that the next case was really time sensitive. Now, I've since learned that, like, I think the bar next to the mission is letting you know if you're running out of time.
It goes by the color.
But yeah, right. But the problem with that is that I thought, because I had already like gotten to the mission and had already like started it, that it wasn't going to punish me by not letting me start the next mission. So I found that really frustrating. I wish that they would tell you when the next case starts before it starts, but they don't do that. And I feel like that makes it really easy for you to lose hours of progress if you decide to save survivors or do a psychopath fight or whatever. So that was my frustration. I haven't played the game in 18 years, a legal adult amount of years in terms of that. So obviously I'm a bit rusty on how Dead Rising works. So I accept that, it has its own idiosyncrasies and I don't like all of them.
It feels old.
It feels old. Yeah, it's clunky. It really is clunky. The hit boxes. Sometimes, like, I would swing a sledgehammer right in front of a zombie and it would completely miss. And the zombie would just like look at me and I'd look at the zombie and I'd be like, well, shit. And then I fucking die because all the health items are either in the supermarket or they're in specialty stores and they're nowhere else. And that's one of my other big problems with the game. I swear to God, I'll get to the positive stuff soon. But like the health items, there's a real lack of it and there's no way to like improve it. Now, I'm sure longtime Dead Rising fans will probably laugh at this, saying that they already know where all those spots are and stuff. Great, but I don't remember any of that shit.
There's a lot of like food places around. You just go to like a
but like often when you're in certain fights, there aren't food places around. Like I had 2 fights back to back where there was no food in the area where the boss was. I would even leave to try to look for other food areas, and there's no food stores anywhere near me. There's a bunch of clothing stores or kids stores or CD stores. Yeah. Which that really takes me back.
Sometimes you gotta stack up on them and carry them with you.
Yeah. But it sucks because it's like you'll try to stack up on them, but like, so for example, like I went to the supermarket. I'm on like case 4 or 5 at this point. Yeah. So I've already beaten the no vandals in my store guy. Yeah. I won't allow vandalism. But anyway, he's fun. I try to go back in there to stock up, right? Because I'm trying to go along with the game and learn its system and stuff. It's just flooded with zombies, like everywhere. And it's like it becomes kind of a Sisyphusian task of like, okay, I'll grab some meat, I'll grab some orange juice, and then I'll try to get out of there in one piece. But like I'll take damage. Sorry.
Yeah. Especially when they latch
damage
onto
along the way. I'll take the damage along the way.
Yeah.
And then like it'll just be for nothing, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just frustrating. I just feel like they don't put enough food places in enough areas.
Yeah.
And to me, it just artificially inflates the difficulty. I know a lot of longtime Dead Rising fans have been talking about this as the easier version. Fuck me. I'm glad I'm not playing the original then, because I've died quite a few times. Either to psychopaths or zombies or just bad, item management.
Yeah, the original game was very difficult. I felt like there was times where I was like, I'm not really having fun.
Yeah. And I still have those feelings right now with the deluxe remaster. I still have those moments where I'm like, am I really having fun? And then I'll get on a motorcycle and I'll drive through like 50 different zombies and I'll be like, okay, I am having fun. Yeah. But then the like slightest, smallest little obstacle will get in the motorcycle's way, and Frank will fucking fly off that motorcycle 50 feet in the air and then lose a bar of health, a little block of health. I feel like the motorcycle is like a really good metaphor for this game, because I'll be on the motorcycle, I'll be like, oh man, this fucking rules. I'm running over zombies. I'm getting my power points or whatever the hell that it stands for. And like I'm having a great time. The blood is flowing. We're having a good time here. And then I'll literally just like slightly bump into something, and Frank will just do some pirouettes in the fucking sky, and I'm like, why? Like, I'm having a good time. Why are you getting in your own way of me having a good time? And that's what I feel like this game's doing. For every like one step forward, this game has like 2 steps back for me. But yeah, I do have positive stuff to say about it, I swear. It's just I want to get the negative stuff out of the way, because I am frustrated with this game, especially because I got on PS5, because my PC was not going to be able to handle that amount of character models with such high fidelity at the same time. I think my PC would have gotten a little cranky at me.
Your PS5 is stronger than your PC at this point.
Yeah. So, so I can't really get a refund. Excuse me. Sorry. I can't really get a refund. But I don't know. I don't know that I want a refund, just that I have some frustrations. I still think the game is pretty good. I'll talk about some of the positives, like the graphics, the voice acting. Both of those are really nice. The graphics look, lovely.
Yeah.
And it is nice that you get auto saves for every area. Which apparently that's not a thing in the previous iteration.
Correct. You had to manual save everything, which was annoying.
Yep.
It was
sounds like a fucking nightmare.
And there was only one slot.
Oh my god. And then I do like the story. I feel like the story's interesting. I don't remember it. I know there's some kind of conspiracy going on, but I don't remember exactly what it is or who's at fault or what's going on. I presume the government's at fault, because that's usually what's going on in zombie movies, also in real life, but I digress. And then I do have one more gripe. I feel like having one of your main selling points being escort missions is kind of weird. The thing that gamers hate the most. Now, I will say they've upgraded the pathing of the AI, and so it's not as bad as it used to be. But sometimes, like there was Sally. Oh my god, Sally couldn't fucking walk in a straight line to save her goddamn life. But for the most part, everybody has been okay in terms of the escort missions. Zombies typically don't harass them. They usually, sometimes I'll have to double back because it'll say they're far away, aka they're in the other section. But yeah, I mean, the graphics are good, and the voice acting's good, the story's good, and the gameplay can be good, but there's just some clunkiness and some. I really feel like this is a game that would have been better helped by a full-on remake rather than this weird middle ground. Yeah. But yeah, go ahead, Seb.
Yeah, the escort missions were really bad in the original game. The AI was horrendous. And they would die easily, and it was just very tedious. It was from 2006. That was around the time where escort missions were all the rage, and like a lot of games had escort missions. I think developers have learned from that. And I agree with you overall that this game probably should have just been a full-on remake where they changed things instead of just giving it like a fresh coat of paint and just being like the same game. I haven't played it yet,
and I don't care.
Sorry,
go ahead.
But I'll probably agree with your points.
Yeah, and it's like I don't care. Some of the small changes that people fucking bitched and complained about. I don't give a shit about, right? Like you can't take erotic photos anymore. I don't care about that. Yeah. They changed out like some of the other some other stuff in terms of like
they changed Frank's voice, which people were not happy about.
Right, they changed Frank's voice. I that doesn't bother me. I don't even remember his original VO.
So I don't care about that. They already changed it before, I think. Like
right, exactly. So it's like, who cares at this point? I mean, personally,
yeah.
And then they did do this weird thing where they changed. We talked about this before, but they changed the war vet so that he's like more generic, because I guess they didn't want to like have him call you a dirty commie. Yeah. I don't understand really why that's a big deal. I feel like you could have focused on other issues in this game instead of that.
Yeah, it's not even an issue.
But yeah, I don't know. Capcom had some weird priorities for changes, but most of them don't bother me.
Yeah, I think that the problem with Dead Rising as a whole, and I'm sure this applies to the remaster as well, is that the concept of itself is really awesome. Like, fighting a bunch of zombies in a mall, and you just like have a fun sandbox game where it's goofy and it doesn't need to have anything amazing storyline or anything like that. But it's just a lot of difficulty, and unnecessary like hindrances, like the time and the lack of health and difficulty spikes with the bosses. It just like it wants you to have fun, but then it defeats like it gets in its own way and it defeats like the fun.
Yeah,
and that's like that's my review of the first game.
Yeah, it gets in the way of itself because it at one point it's like, have a fun time, kill a bunch of zombies, save people, and see this like wacky world with psychopaths and stuff like that. But on the other hand, in the main mission, they're like, you gotta go right now. You have to go. Don't fuck around. Don't make any mistakes. Like, I was stressed, like getting to some of these like main story missions because I want to see them, but I also like, I want to rescue people, you know?
Yeah. I always,
and it's tough to do.
I always never understood a game that wants you to have fun, a sandbox game, and to have fun with fighting zombies and stuff, and then having a time mechanic tied into it. Like, it feels like it's contradicting itself. Yeah, that's why.
And that's the difference between like a game like Majora's Mask, which is really my only reference point for this kind of gameplay mechanic, because
it's not used often.
I don't usually. It's not used often, and probably for good reason. Honestly, it's controversial.
Yeah.
But Majora's Mask always felt like the time aspect was centered in terms of like the general gimmick of the game, so to speak. You know, gimmick not used negatively necessarily.
Yeah, but
whereas this, it feels at odds with each other.
Yeah, because with Majora's Mask, it's not a sandbox game where it wants you to fight a bunch of enemies. It's a more
right. It's story driven.
Story driven, yeah.
Yeah.
So it defeats it contradicts itself.
Yes. Yeah. It insists upon itself. No, but yeah, it's a frustrating experience that I have a good time with every now and then. I can't recommend it for $50. I honestly wish I could get my money back. Even though I don't hate it, I just feel like even when I'm having a good time with it, I feel stressed because I feel like, I don't know, just like I'm trying to get stuff done, but the way time works can be kind of frustrating. I can't exactly map how long it takes. Oh, speaking of map, I meant to bring this up, and I said I would bring this up earlier. I can't fucking make sense of this goddamn map. The buttons are laid out weird. I couldn't even find the security room. Like, I know how to get there, right? Through the warehouse and then the elevator that's always full of zombies for some fucking reason. And then you go back into the... Like, I know how to get there.
Yeah.
Like, mentally. But map-wise, I have no idea where the fuck I'm supposed to be looking. The R1 button is, for some reason, the zoom in and not R2. It's like you can put pins and markers, but it kind of blends in with all the other quests that are happening at the same time.
Yeah.
It's just a mess. And I just don't... The map's not terrible. I've seen worse maps, but for me personally, I constantly get turned around.
This is a game I would play with a guide. I would...
Yes, and that's what I'm doing now. I refuse to play this without a guide because it's...
Yeah.
I'm literally not going to be able to beat it if I don't have a guide.
Yeah, I would not recommend it, a blind playthrough for this game. This is not that kind of game. Like, you'll get more frustrated if you're doing a blind playthrough.
Yeah, I literally almost I like threw my controller down. I'm not hard, but like I just like kind of let my controller go after I realized that I had fucked up with the next case file, and I was like, I'm considering just quitting this game, but I'm glad I didn't. I
Yeah.
went back to it today. I'm having a much better time. I'm still not going to say it's a great game because it's not for me, but like I'm having a pretty good time. Like I think this is a pretty good game. It's just got some old clunkiness and gameplay mechanics that just don't really work anymore and don't make any sense or contradict itself. So yeah, I know obviously you can play the story one way and then replay it and play it a different way the next time.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
There's only
I mean,
one true
October is
ending,
right around the corner.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that.
There's only one true ending though, anyway. And even then, you beat the game, and then there's another thing after that you have to do to get to really beat the game.
Yeah, and I'm not. I ain't doing that.
Which gets frustrating.
I'm not doing that.
I won't say what happens.
I'll watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, I won't say what happens, but it gets even more frustrating.
Yeah.
So is that everything?
That's pretty much everything. Overall, to sum up my thoughts, there are good things to this game. I think it looks really nice. I mean, the RE engine is undefeated. I think the gameplay has its moments. I think the characters in the world are generally wacky and fun, but a lot of the time mechanics, a lot of the moment-to-moment gameplay, the hitboxes, there's just a lot of little things here and there, and even like medium things here and there that I just feel like should have been polished out in a digital remaster or whatever Capcom is calling it, deluxe remaster. But they just didn't because they don't want to remake it. They just want to do a remaster. And like this is more than a remaster, but it's not quite a remake. I feel like they could have smoothed things out even more. I couldn't imagine playing the original, I guess is what I'm saying. And I like this game and I love horror, as we all know, but there's some stuff about this game that I kind of side eye, and I'm like, I don't know what we were thinking here.
Yeah. Yeah, I bought it. I got it for $41, and I'll probably like it more than you because I know the original more because of course I beat it and got I got like I 100%ed it like in terms of like getting the true ending and stuff. So I know what to expect and everything, but yeah, it's a frustrating game overall. Like it is, like I said, it's at war with itself. There's moments where it's really fun. And I like the characters, and I like a lot. The bosses are cool, like concepts and stuff. But I think overall this game just has too many difficulty spikes, and the time management is not. It's very unforgiving, and it's just it makes the game very frustrating when it shouldn't be as frustrating. It should be just a fun, goofy game.
Yeah. So absolutely.
Yeah. So I'll probably like it more, but I still don't think it's gonna be anything amazing. It'll probably be like, I'll say a 7 out of 10, I guess. Yeah,
I'm at like a 6.5, something like that. 3.5 kind of situation. It's not bad. It's not just okay because it has moments of greatness.
It's pretty good,
but it's not. It's pretty good, but it's not.
Yeah,
it's kind of weakly pretty good. It's like a soft like 3.5 or something out of 5. I don't know.
It's average.
Above average.
Above average. Okay,
but not by a lot.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I'll play it and then give my thoughts on it. But your
thoughts. Looking forward to what you have to say.
Your thoughts are probably going to align more with what I'm going to say because I already given my thoughts about this game before.
Yeah.
But I'll probably like it a little more, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think you will too.
But yeah, and so that's our episode. I know it was a little longer than normal, but there was a lot going on this week, and
a lot. And we'll probably have a lot going on into October as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of games to talk about. I think in the future, unless it's like the news is like really major, we're probably gonna be a little more game impression heavy in the next couple of weeks because there's just so many games coming out. So
yeah, the only thing I thought was like super worthy from last week was, Kingdom Hearts series possibly coming to an end ?
Yeah,
and then like Nintendo finally suing Power World. And that was really it in terms of like, and the state of play.
Yeah, there's a couple of things. Yeah. There was a couple of things about like the PS6 and the Switch 2.
And the Switch 2,
got leaked a little bit. And then that's not confirmed. And then there was something about Square Enix is like gonna put all their games on every platform now. I think that was topic worthy, but not something I have to have in the show. So.
No, and to be clear, me saying God was just them about. The way that Square Enix views profits just makes me eye roll.
Yeah,
I'm glad they're putting things on more consoles and more platforms, of course. But yeah.
I think so. Like after this show, and the editing's done, I think I'm probably gonna play Chainsaw Lollipop this week, and then Dead Rising, and maybe Final Fantasy 16, maybe, I don't know, but or Plucky Squire. I might knock out Plucky Squire tomorrow or something because it's like 6 hour game, but I never know until I'm in the mood for something. So we'll see. So we'll play it by ear. So thanks for joining me, Dory. You have a good night.
Yeah. Hopefully my cough wasn't too rough for you or the audience. I tried to mute myself whenever I could, but you can only do so much.
Yeah, it was fine. There's a cough going. There's a cold going around right now.
Yeah. I think it's bronchitis or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I had it. I had a cold 2 weekends when we recorded. I had a cold. Yeah. Like I didn't show it.
Both Seb and I work with kids, so both of us getting sick around this time is just kind of expected because that's when school starts.
I didn't get it as bad as other people apparently. Like mine was mainly one day and then it went away.
Yeah.
And then I had a cough.
Yeah, I've had mine for weeks.
I had a cough for like 3 days maybe, and then that was like
my energy's back to normal, which is why I can do the podcast. But I still have this cough every now and then.
I was gonna cough from
anyway,
post nasal drip. That's my main.
Yeah, that's what I think it is.
I'm used to it though because I have allergies, so that's every day for me. All right.
Oh, ouch.
Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. You have a good night, and we'll see you next week.
Next week's October, baby. Let's go.
Halloween time. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.